Welcome back to another episode of the Family Album. I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
And I'm Matt Glass.
Last week, you heard our family meeting where we discussed our essential 5 funk albums.
I think there are a lot of nice twists and turns in there. Some albums we weren't expecting, but some that were definitely...
You figured
yeah.
they would be on there.
Yeah, exactly.
But speaking of expecting...
This is the episode where y'all are supposed to expect the unexpected.
Exactly.
I don't even know how to preface this. I came up with the theme after we picked both the albums because we just kind of picked both the albums for the hell of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the theme of this episode is pacing. Pacing because we're seeing the two ends of the spectrum of great pacing and not so good pacing.
That's a really good point.
At all.
And I think both albums also encapsulate the overall themes of this season, as this is our season 3 finale for regular episodes, I should say.
AJ brought on an album that is very good, and I brought on an album that is sticking to the theme of bad albums this season.
Exactly.
And is really just not so good.
Yeah, so I guess without further ado, Matt, what is the album you brought me this week?
Well, I brought AJ the cult classic album, Lines, Vines, and Trying Times by the Jonas Brothers.
In the 1001 albums to listen to before you die. Critically acclaimed by Pitchfork, the #1 album of 2000s. It's great.
Jesus.
We all love it.
Of the 2000s would be crazy.
Yeah.
Like, even just saying 2009 would be crazy, but of the 2000s in general is insane.
The album I brought, Matt, is another kind of themed album. That is Pink Floyd's The Wall, because they're a band that has come up quite a lot this season. First appearing in our December guest episode when we discussed Animals with Tim Jones. Then again with Nostalgia Critics The Wall, the winner of our Bad Album Bowl. And stay tuned for next week, because they might be popping up again in a way you don't expect it.
In a way that I unfortunately very much expect and I'm not excited for.
Yes.
But we want to bring these two albums as our last regular episode of the season, just to sort of cap everything off before we get into the last block.
Yeah.
Or as we move into the last block of our episodes. We're going to start with the Jonas Brothers one first.
I feel like there's a lot less to discuss.
A lot, kind of. There's a bit to discuss.
Less dense.
Because there are reasons as to why I chose this album.
Yeah.
But in comparison to Pink Floyd, I think it's necessary.
Closing with the Jonas Brothers feels a little disrespectful.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Pink Floyd is a very tough act to follow, and they do not come close.
Mm-hmm.
But AJ, I have a question.
Yeah?
Would you like the history or the Mattstery first?
Let's go with the base history, because I think the Mattstery will help me figure out why you picked this album specifically.
Okay. So, for the album, the base history, Lines, Vines, and Trying Times by the Jonas Brothers was released on June 12th, 2009 through Hollywood Records, which is a record label specifically for young movie stars and like film franchises. They're very popular because they have produced all of the Marvel soundtracks.
I see.
It is the 4th studio album under the Jonas name and was produced by John Fields, who produced Pink, Miley Cyrus, Andrew W.K.,
Nice.
Demi Lovato, but also Jimmy Eat World, which was fascinating.
Interesting.
He has a band, but it didn't seem very important. The album was primarily created to advance the band's musical prowess, both in themes and music, as it features over-the-top big band elements, such as a large string and brass section in numerous songs. After feeling frustrated with the perceived goody two-shoes image that Disney had cultivated for them in their various acting projects, the Jonas Brothers wanted a change of pace to seem more mature. Although the album went certified platinum in both Spain and Canada, the album generally received pretty mixed reviews, with some saying that the album felt premature in its teen pop sound despite attempting to tackle issues, overproduced in its instrumentation layout and choices, and even strained in the performance. Through their Amazon exclusive documentary, it was revealed that the decreased success in this album compared to previous ones, plus creative differences between Joe and Nick, were beginning the band's falling out before they went on hiatus, soon to return in 2019.
I see.
Two things I would also like to say.
Yeah.
Two very funny entertainment or music critic quotes. Entertainment Weekly, the guy said that "Don't Charge Me for the Crime" is the sonic equivalent of being held at gunpoint by a baby rabbit. And then the New York Daily News said that the intro sounds like they all just pulled a collective hernia.
I mean, both quite accurate. And I gotta say, this was their attempt to seem more mature.
Yes.
That's very funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So I guess now I should get into the mastery of my history with the Jonas Brothers, because it is extensive.
Interesting. And this album.
And this album, as to why I chose this album to begin with. So my history with the Jonas Brothers, actually, I'll get into why I chose the album first.
Okay.
I think that's a better idea.
Yeah.
I chose this album because the Jonas Brothers they made a comeback in 2019. My sister and I actually went to go see them. And now they're trying to like make another comeback.
Mm-hmm.
They recently just had a convention known as Jonas Con.
That's so crazy, dude.
Which one of our friends' girlfriends went to, which is
I see.
is fascinating.
Gotcha.
They're basically trying to like make a second comeback, even though they never really went anywhere in the last few years.
Yeah, they just dropped like a really mid album in 2023.
They did, and then their comeback album was okay. I thought it was pretty decent in comparison to other stuff. But the reason why I wanted to bring them on was because I kind of came to the realization, as I've seen them more in the public eye, they're not a really good band. I mean, like, that's not a super big realization.
Yeah.
But I started wondering, like, why do people think of them as like a really big, like,
beloved cultural icon?
Yeah. I think a lot of it is the Disney nostalgia.
I think it is.
But the thing is, when you take away the Disney nostalgia, they're not a very good band. Like, back then, they were kind of, scraping by, I would say, with their musicality. Because the whole idea of, like an all-around, like, cool band that's, like, kid-friendly, I think Disney found them very marketable in that, because, like, they wanted to do music first, and then they were kind of picked up by Disney.
Yeah, kind of had that forced upon them.
And then they viewed them as super marketable, so that's why they ended up doing like TV and like movies and stuff,
and Camp Rock, and Camp Rock 2,
and almost Camp Rock 3. But yeah, my history though with the Jonas Brothers, my sister loved them. They were like one of her first bands, and because she loved them so much, I by association was like very much exposed to their music. Unfortunately, they might actually be like one of the first bands I've like ever like really had that much prolonged like exposure to.
Yeah.
Which is fascinating.
Especially with where you are now in your music journey.
I'd like to hope I've at least kind of
veered off, turned left.
One might say. But unfortunately, the poison ivy is still there,
Everybody hates that.
Everybody fucking hates that. But I think as a kid though, like, your perception of everything is like kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like, I thought of them as like this, like, wow, they're a do-it-all like group. They can act, they can sing,
and they're brothers.
And they're brothers, they're family. And like,
that's what it's all about.
And straight up, like, I think I thought of them as like this like really talented band. And I think in some ways they are, definitely. Like, they had to come up with some of these concepts, and it's like, okay, I applaud you for like melody making and stuff. But as they've been kind of moving away from the whole Disney thing and like in their comeback, I feel like my nostalgia has been climbing this Sisyphean like mountain, trying to justify like, oh, you should have seen them back then. You should have seen them back then, compared to what they are now, because they've both made musical choices and life choices that are not great.
Yes.
So
correct.
There's that. But I was like, let me see, like, does their music from the old days still hold up? Hence me bringing this here.
Gotcha.
Because I listened to it and was like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, man.
It was crazy. I mean, their other stuff was very like kiddish too, but like at least they weren't trying to be something they weren't.
Yeah, trying to stray away from that.
Yeah, because this was in the midst of them wanting to leave Disney. They were on the Jonas like show full time. And
Purity Rings on.
Purity
Never
Rings
came
on.
off.
Russell Brand fucking kept ripping them a new one at every collective award ceremony. They were on like a show for like 8-year-olds, and they were trying to write serious music.
Yeah.
Which I think caused them a lot of frustration.
Valid.
Especially since they wanted to just do music first and not really be actors.
Have the Disney stigma.
Yeah, exactly. So that is a lot of the history. There will be more things as we go on, but I think I've talked enough about just general Jonas stuff. We should just hop right in.
All right. Well, first off, we open up with one of the worst tracks on this album.
Yeah, it's called World War III. This is the one where the guy from New York Daily News said it sounds like a collective hernia.
And he is correct.
Yeah, no.
Nick Jonas can't sing.
Oh, dude. Oh my God. That is the other thing. Why in the fuck did Hollywood push him so far?
I don't know, man.
Into the popularity.
Yeah.
Like he's been on the cover of magazines, just this all around. He had his own solo career that was like ripping off Stevie Wonder. He rips off Stevie Wonder in one of these songs.
That he does.
He can't sing.
No, he can't.
It's so, like all he does is vocal fry.
Yeah.
And it sucks.
It's so fucking weird. It's like really obnoxious to listen to. Just as like grovelly, growly vocal delivery. It sounds like he's straining himself to sing.
But nasally.
Yeah.
That's the part of it that is like so hard to grasp. And he made a career out of that for like a decade.
Yeah.
Over a decade, I'd argue.
And he played an infamously shitty guitar solo too.
Oh my God. Yeah. I don't know. On paper, Kevin played all the guitar on this album, but I'm going to take that with a grain of salt because I watched Jonas Con.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, at best, he was doing rhythm.
Gotcha.
I don't think he was doing anything else. I know Nick and Kevin had guitars at Jonas Con, but I'm pretty sure they were not playing anything.
Nice. They're not plugged in.
Nah, I hope they weren't.
That's sick.
But this track is not very good. It's a weird sentiment too.
Yeah.
Like just the whole thing of like
comparing a like one-sided fight in a relationship to World War III.
Yeah, especially for 2009.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Tumultuous times.
Little bit. Yeah, no, I think the instrumental is a bit much, but like not.
It's in theory, it's not bad, but it's very busy, and I feel like it does not fit on. It doesn't really fit with their brand.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all. I don't know why they thought, let's go big, let's go really grandiose.
Yeah, let's go funk.
Because they were not. They were not ready for that.
Nah.
It's a weird like ball and chain kind of song lyrically.
Oh yeah.
And Nick Jonas's Michael Jackson musings in between the lyrics are not very pleasant to listen to.
No, they're not.
I hate the fact that just like they're trying to say in the song, the whole idea is that like it's us versus the problem, but they're primarily just blaming their partner.
The one person, yeah.
It's
just
like,
being like, you're overreacting.
You can't have a World War III if there's only one side fighting. Like, shut up.
Yeah. How old were they when they released this?
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
I don't even know.
I would imagine like early 20s.
Had to be.
Yeah.
They were on Kevin was already married. I know that. Because Kevin, that's the other thing about it too. Joe and Nick were like in their teens at the time of their like growing popularity.
Yeah.
Kevin, when they first started, was like 18 and then like was a full-on adult, but then had to like kind of pose as a high schooler.
Oh, that's so weird.
It was strange to say the least. We can put that in the description however old they were.
Cool.
Too old is the answer.
Also, is there a bass on this track? Because I don't fucking hear one.
I don't think there's a bass in this entire fucking album.
There is some. Granted, there's some, not enough.
I wrote that many times in my notes, actually. Just the lack thereof bass.
Yeah.
The last thing I'll say about World War III, mostly because it's just busy and it sucks, is that it sounds like Joe is trying to do an impression of Nick at times.
Dude, I can't tell them apart on this album.
I can, unfortunately. Nick is like full nasally, and Joe kind of has like
restrained nasal,
post nasal drip.
I see.
Yeah, Nick's got that post nasal drip. Shout out to all my Zyrtec users. You know, oh my god, yeah, no, it's wild.
Yeah, dude, this synth loop sucks so hard. I hate.
Put me in the booth.
God, if I would be disappointed if they didn't have a Launchpad on them.
Was the Launchpad even popularized in 2009?
Probably not.
I was about to say 2009.
2009.
What the fuck? That's crazy. No, I don't think so, and I hope not. Anyway,
this track sucks.
This track is really bad. This is gonna be a weird thing because although I have nostalgia from listening to like all of these, objectively, it's going to be a pretty negative
trip down memory lane.
Yeah, pretty negative reception as an active listen.
Yeah.
I guess an adult music critic, if you can call me that. But shall we move on to track 2?
Yeah, let's move on to track 2. One of, if not the big single from this album.
I think it's like the big single.
Yeah, it's one of the better songs on the album. I think it's fine enough for what it is.
Yeah, it's good in terms of the Jonas Brothers.
Yes.
That's what I would say.
That's a very good way to put it.
It's very good in terms of the Jonas Brothers.
Yeah.
It's called Paranoid. I would argue it's probably one of the best songs on here.
Yep.
But I literally wrote, but I don't know if that is saying much.
Yeah. Like as a song, it's probably like C or D tier. As a Jonas Brothers song, A tier.
Yeah, like if you were a Disney fan back in 2009, you heard them drop Paranoid, you're like, oh! God, I wish you could have seen the
Matt,
face.
is that a personal experience? Did that happen to you?
Yeah, I just nutted, guys. Sorry about that.
I see.
I'm reliving the nostalgia of just being... I was just watching Disney Channel. Oh, man. Again, the bass could be so much better on this one. I think it's a little bit better here.
Yeah, it does wonders like for this track, just keeping it like grounded and like something to like keep the rhythm like moving along. Even though it is basic, it is very much appreciated.
Yeah.
I also think Nick isn't too bad on this track in terms of vocals.
Except for the pre-chorus where it's like, every time I turn around. Like, oh God. The second verse is so funny on this because running background checks.
That's why my ex is still my ex. Yeah, lyrically, this album is not good.
It's terrible.
It's very bad.
It's so bad. It sounds like Jimmy Jr. from Bob's Burgers wrote it. Like, I swear to God.
Brother was writing musomes.
Oh, God. They also say in the chorus, it's like they're avoiding all the lies because they might slip or whatever.
Yeah.
Or not in the chorus. It's in the verse, the first verse, I believe. It's like, what the fuck are you lying about? You're on the Disney Channel.
Hey, man. They do a lot more than just lie, man, as we will find out.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That is very, very true.
That's not their only crime they're guilty of.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, this track, even when I was a kid, I was like, oh, yeah, I like this. Mm-hmm. Even though I think people in that demographic probably thought it was, like, huge for the Jonas Brothers.
Epic, yeah.
It wasn't a song that, like, I returned to because I really liked all their, like, upbeat stuff. Mm-hmm. Just their feel-good, kind of like, kid being
standard
a kid.
Jonas Brothers-esque.
Where a kid can be a kid.
Yeah.
Chuck E. Cheese. Oh, man.
That's their tagline, right? Jonas Brothers, where a kid can be a kid.
Might as well be, honestly. Except for Poison Ivy, but...
fucking Christ, we'll get there.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, I think it's fine for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything really more positive that I can say about it.
Nothing too offensive. Whack lyrics. I like that Joe takes over a little more on the vocals, and Nick isn't that bad. That bad.
Yeah. But track 3 is AJ's favorite one. No, I'm just kidding. It's called Fly With Me.
Oh, dude.
Dude, this piano is so fucking obnoxious.
Right? It sounds like he's playing fucking Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Like, fucking for real, dude.
It's so bad. Like, I feel like that's also been another theme of this season. Just piano that's not mixed to my liking. It's so, like... obnoxiously like
up front
like I think like I was like almost getting a headache. Like it was actually really bad.
And going off of that, it's so weird how they set up a seamless transition from Paranoid to this one.
Yes.
They just drop it. They make it like fade out and then start the song over top of it instead of just seamlessly having the keys take over as like the keys from Paranoid like fade into it. I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah, no. Production wise, this album is also not good.
It's not.
It takes a huge dip later.
Yeah.
I forget where, but like, oh my God. It's a lot of these tracks are kind of compressed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this piano sucks. It loudly bangs in your ears. Having this follow Paranoid and World War III, which it's kind of suffering from like an Aim and Ignite situation where I feel like 1 second they're talking about how much they hate being around this person. And then now they're like, won't you fly with me? It's like... what is happening? And
using the Peter Pan like kind of motif to kind of tie that all together.
We don't like Peter Pan at the family album.
And it comes up a little too often for my liking, I'll be honest.
What was the other one? It was
Macy Peters.
Macy Peters.
Whatever that one was called. There was something else recently, I feel like. I think it was this season or...
There definitely was something. I know Meatloaf, I think Dead Ringer, or was it Battle of Hell or Dead Ringer that was supposed to be like a Peter Pan rock opera? I know I mentioned that on one of those episodes.
Well, in the description.
We'll
put it in there.
Yeah.
Honestly, there's not a bad halftime break on the second verse. I like the string inclusions. I think it kind of bolsters the whole concept of the song.
Yes, especially the flying aspect.
Exactly. I don't care for that concept, but I think it achieves what it sets out to do. Honestly, I also didn't mind the key change at the very end.
Yeah, I think it helped have momentum.
Decently earned. I do disagree, though, that Peter and Wendy did turn out fine, personally.
I don't think so.
Yeah, which is very foreboding for this track.
The thing is, like, I don't think they should turn out fine, considering it's been, like, canonically... Peter is, like, not a kid. He's been on the island for however long.
Yeah.
Like, if not in the Disney movie, in other adaptations, it's been like revealed or like theorized rather that Peter is like not, he only looks like a teenager. So it's like maybe this isn't the Disney story.
Very cute.
We shouldn't really like be dying on this hill, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think they kind of put this on the album to kind of appease the Disney overlords.
Yeah,
that's kind of the vibe I get, because like they mentioned Peter Pan and Wendy, so they probably wanted like
it's very
a song.
in your face.
Yeah.
This is also, I think, the most popular song from Spotify streams.
I'd believe it.
I think it's this one and Paramore are like pretty close.
Considering how they went on a whole tirade about how they can't trust their significant other or their ex, having this is like crazy.
Yeah.
The strings, like you said, they bolster it. This song does sound pretty compressed, if I'm being honest.
That it does.
Like that. I don't really think we need a Jonas remaster, but if they're gonna be like, oh, listen to our whole discography, y'all, you need someone to remix this.
The Jonas versions.
Oh God. Listen, the only form of escape in this harsh world is to fly with me. That's all I can say.
And that's our motto here at the Family Album.
And this song also has no bass.
Oh, good.
Well, I didn't hear any.
Add it to the counter.
If you heard any, please tell me, because
I didn't even like peep that. I'll take your word for it.
Oh, that bass flew away, just not with me.
That it did.
But shall we fly into this next track?
I'm gonna fucking hate it. But next up, we have Poison Ivy.
So, okay, here's the thing. AJ and I were kind of talking about this song, like before, like a few days before we decided to record this, and on Genius, it says that this song is about STDs, and like kind of being uncomfortable with STDs, and I feel like it very much lends itself to that. But then it's also weird because they say everybody needs a little poison ivy. Everybody, and then Joe goes, "Give me some poison, baby," at the very end, and it's like, if this is about STDs, like the person on Genius said, I don't think they know what they are.
No.
Like, which is, if they made this in their 20s, that's not very good.
Yes, that's true, but still plausible with the Disney effect.
It's a weird, I think they, if it was about STDs, they probably tried to mask it by making it about like a toxic relationship.
Yeah, but there's like that undercurrent under there, like that deep layer you peel back.
Yeah, no, they don't lean enough into either side.
No.
Very well at all.
So it just gets muddled, and it's weird regardless.
Yeah, nobody wants STDs. No, I'm pretty sure.
Everybody hates that. Everybody gets that itch. Everybody hates that, as they say in this song.
It's a weird fucking song. Also, the saxophone is like I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
Why?
They're so distracting.
It really is. I also don't love the exaggerated production in like the right channel.
Oh my God.
The really like Beatlesy like production with the guitar so like prominently in the right.
Also, on the lyric "medicate the rash," you have like a shaker that represents scratching, which I was like, why are we doing
Studio
this?
imagery, AJ, that's what it's called.
Also, I'm getting a call from Clumpy, if you remember from episode 56.
This is happening again?
Yeah.
All right, put him on.
All right. Yo, Clumpy, you're on the podcast again.
Oh, God darn it. I'm sorry.
You're the one who keeps calling.
It's okay. What's up, buddy?
I call it the worst times.
It's all good, my friend.
All right. I love you guys. Bye.
Love you too, buddy.
Love you too, Mike. See ya.
See you, Clumpy. Bye-bye. Classic Clumpy.
This is another callback to season.
It's season 3, another recurring theme.
Even though it just happened like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, that's crazy. That was like a month apart.
That's wild. Like, because I think what's so bad about it is if it's about STDs, poison ivy is insanely curable.
Yeah.
Like to the point where it's like
trivial.
You just get a medication and that's it, essentially. Whereas STDs are still, unfortunately, very prominently incurable in most cases. So it's
very odd comparison.
Very odd comparison. This song is not very good.
No.
The song sounds so disconnected in its stereo spread.
Yeah.
Like it's just, it feels like things are happening in channels, but they're not like blending at all. The horns are weird.
Yep.
The key change is not needed here at all.
Not at all.
Because it just happens.
Yeah.
Like midway through the third chorus, I think.
It's just weird. Musically, it's not very interesting. It's very repetitive. Takes on like a more kind of bluesy roots rock feel. But it's not very interesting to listen to. And with some very unpleasant lyrics, it kind of culminates in a very awful song.
Yeah, no, I would say this is one of, if not the lowest point in the album, one of the lowest points of the album.
I would agree.
World War III might be up there.
Yeah, this one, another one later down the line, are definitely the top 3 worst tracks for me.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah?
I feel like any song after this, I'm so curious because I feel like
see.
it could be any song after this.
Gotcha.
Maybe with the exception of track 9.
Yeah.
With the exception of track 9 and track 10.
Track 10?
No, I'm just kidding. No,
Track 10.
track 10.
Can't go wrong with that one.
It should have been a single, if I'm being honest.
They wanted to be mature. They fucking did. They did it.
Shall we continue?
Yes. Next up, we have Hey Baby. This section one, I don't mind too much.
Because Nick is just trying to be Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, it's kind of an earworm.
Exactly.
I like the 6/8 feel.
Agreed.
I think like this kind of shows some progression in musical maturity.
Yes.
The guitar solo is kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing too.
It's not bad.
Just doesn't really sound like it should be a Jonas Brothers song.
Yeah, because like I would assume everything before this was like very different from what this album is.
Very like pop punk, like pop rock adjacent stuff.
So going like a funk direction, while neat, I feel like is kind of a drastic change from what they were started as.
Which actually leads to a bit of trivia. After the Jonas Brothers split up post this album, Nick Jonas went on a solo career known as Nick Jonas and the Administration before it was just Nick Jonas. And he did all music like this.
I see.
And it actually wasn't that bad.
That's pretty cool.
I'd say same level of lyricism, but
Gotcha, but musically.
Musically, it all sounded like this.
Okay, big step up.
State of Emergency was the best song off of Nick Jonas and the Administration. But we can still stay at Hey Baby for now. At least there's some bass on this one. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And the clav kind of like
the organ stuff too.
the
That's
organ
really fun.
keys. I think it's claves.
Okay.
I think that's the
Clavinet.
clavinet. Castanets are the clicky ones.
Yeah. Claves
Clavinets
are
are
dink
the-
dink.
Wait, they're dink dink.
Claves are
Claves are dink dink.
clavinets
Clavinets are
the
keys.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys are learning with me.
I hope that very intricate explanation helps
I like to
a
think.
lot.
I like to imagine whenever we don't know, like whenever one of us doesn't know something, we're explaining it. It's like almost like a kid's show. It's like we're learning together.
You see,
guys.
claves are go dink dink.
like the omnichord. But yeah, no. I feel like this song is kind of nothing otherwise, concept wise.
Yeah, it's just
Hey, baby.
exactly. That's all there is.
Catchy, but it feels like filler.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing about this that makes it worth listening is the instrumental and the chorus.
Yep.
But they pretty much just say the same lyrics over and over again.
Yeah, it's repetitive.
Hey, baby.
Like using that as the main hook, it's kind of old after a while.
Why you treating me bad?
You're making me sad.
Oh, man. A lot of this album
Oh yeah,
makes me
that's right.
sad.
Hey baby, why are you treating me bad? Hey darling, you're making me mad. Wrote that one down too.
Oh, man. They had to like, there was a boardroom meeting. You know what I mean? Like this album had concepts and there was, all right, we're going to gather around. We're in the boardroom right now. First lyric, hey baby, why you treat me bad? Hey darling, oh, you're making me mad.
That's gold, that's gold. And then Nick goes, that's gold, that's gold.
Oh, man. Before we continue, our former guest of the family album, Maggie Ensel.
Okay.
One of our stims is a Nick Jonas impression
Nice.
where we just scream things in like the Nick Jonas rasp,
Yeah.
but like
Heinous.
it's just like just
Expletives.
whatever expletives. Yeah. There is a bar. It's like a gentleman's kind of bar that I pass on my way home called Cheerleaders.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
So there was a period of time where I would send Maggie Snapchats just being like, "We're gonna go to Cheerleaders." There's definitely like a Venn diagram between Nick Jonas being like, and then Bjorn being like, "You're so hot." Oh man, it's just a bit more teen angst.
History repeats itself. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Art is derivative.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Shall we get to the next track though?
Yeah, this one's kind of boring.
It's so boring. This song has no right being over 4 minutes.
No.
It's called Before the Storm, featuring Miley Cyrus.
The big Disney collab of this album, and it's nothing special.
Yeah. I mean, I think this feature is better than the other one.
Agreed.
Well, I think the usage of the feature
Yes.
is better than the other one.
I would agree. They definitely lend themselves better to a Jonas Brothers album.
And we'll get to there when we get to there. It's so weird hearing Miley's old singing
I know,
style,
dude.
because I've gotten so used to like how she's reshaped her voice and like her music
brand.
writing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird hearing her old voice. I almost don't like it. Like
Yeah.
it feels wrong to listen to. This song it's like a poor man's Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Like it reminds me of that, but with just way less impact.
Yeah, I said this one reminds me of The Climb by Miley Cyrus, which I'm also not a fan of. I think it's also really boring.
Yeah.
Hot take, I guess.
Party in the USA is the only one where I feel like it's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
If you're gonna look at the entirety of Hannah Montana's and Miley Cyrus's discography,
That's the one.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Standard ballad.
it's very funny how much better of a singer Miley
Yes.
is compared to Nick.
Yeah, hearing them kind of blend together is quite the feat.
Yeah, because Miley is like doing riffs and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
where Nick is just frying his way through.
Yeah.
It's wild. Disney had a few like songs that their talent would make or at least sing
Mm-hmm.
to promote like a lot of
Disney original like movies and stuff.
original movies and also campaigns for like eco stuff.
That's right. Yeah.
Like I know Joe Jonas and Demi Lovato had Make a Wave,
Mhm.
which was kind of a bop. I'm not gonna lie.
Gotcha.
Sounds like identical to
Yeah.
this, if I'm being honest. That was a Joe Jonas solo era, but when he was still kind of with Disney.
Mm-hmm.
This has a very like Save the Turtles type beat.
Yeah, I said this sounds like Disney original slop. Vocally, at least. I mean, I think Miley's vocals are definitely the highlight of this track.
Oh, without a doubt.
100%. The strings are nice on this track. They add to the overall tone. I also like how there's subtle elements of like organ and synths as well to kind of like really emphasize the whole storm motif.
Yeah.
There's also some actual nice studio imagery where there's this like little guitar lick on the lyric, every strike of lightning to kind of emphasize that, which is pretty cool. But other than that, it's just boring.
Yeah.
Boring ballad.
It's kind of funny that Disney made them sing a song together after they had broken up,
Right?
which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
One thing you can learn about the Jonas Brothers is that half their discography is written about either Miley Cyrus, Selena Gomez, or Demi Lovato.
Jesus
which
Christ,
makes
man.
it crazy. Except Mandy, which was written by Kevin before Danielle Jonas,
I see.
who he is currently married to.
Does Kevin sing like ever on a Jonas Brothers album?
On Mandy,
Okay.
on the song Come Back to Me, which is on their 2019 album,
Gotcha.
and then that might actually be it.
Interesting.
He had a song in the Jonas Show called Left My Heart in Scandinavia.
Okay.
I don't really want to go into what that song is about because I
Valid.
feel like the audience could do some homework for once.
Cool.
If you watch it, tell me something from the video, okay?
Yeah.
Comment that.
Yeah, that's our question of the week. What did you think of Leave My Heart in Scandinavia?
But anyway,
Speaking of hearts, next up we have their country song, What Did I Do to Your Heart?
this just sounds like Shania Twain.
Yeah.
Like, which is another avenue of music listening as a kid that I had the pleasure of
Full circle.
going into. Almost brought that on for this
I
episode.
see. Interesting.
Except that album is, although it's country and country pop of the 1990s, it is better than this
Leads
album.
better. Yeah.
The instrumentally, it's just mixed so much better. Another day though. Why are the vocals so not distributed well in this song?
I don't know.
They're like in the middle, and Joe and Nick's like vocals are on top of each other.
Yeah.
One of them's like whisper singing, and the other one's like kind of singing, and it sounds like they're phasing. Like
Yeah.
it's weird.
They're not blending at all. And there's also like a female backup singer on here as well.
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah, I think on the choruses.
It does not blend well, like at all.
Nah. The lyrics, once again, are very repetitive, using the words heart and apart over and over again for the rhyme scheme. The fiddle's cool.
It is.
It's nice. Again, I mean, did they do country before this?
No.
I feel like that was maybe just like a staple from like other Disney eras, like Hannah Montana. Like, oh, like that's familiar. Like, get it on here too.
But then why didn't you do it for the last one?
Exactly.
That's like the thing about it where
that's
I'm
the
like,
climb, Matt. That's her pop thing.
God, it's so crazy also just the cognitive discrepancies between songs like content-wise.
Yeah.
Asking why their love interest doesn't want to be with them. It's so jarring. Like their relationships collectively are either doing really good or really
Yeah.
bad from song to song.
No in between.
The country rock influences, because you kind of asked this earlier,
Yeah.
it's kind of a strange choice too. They really didn't do that much.
Gotcha. I guess just they were trying to spice it up a little bit. I mean, musically, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's neat. It's like a neat kind of gimmick. But then the Jonas Brothers are there, so it gets a little less neat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like the vocals just do not have the gusto to pull off any shred of sincerity, especially on this song. I would argue this might be, if not the worst, I would say the worst.
Gotcha.
But if it's not the worst, one of the worst mixed songs on the album.
I see.
It's just not good.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, no, it feels just really, really outdated and just not spread
Fully
out
fleshed.
well. Yeah. But
Shall we move on?
let's move on to a track that is much better.
All right. Much Better is the name of the next track. It's about Taylor Swift.
I would imagine. Oh yeah, it's another songwriting inspiration.
Yeah.
When Joe and Taylor dated and he broke up with her over text.
I believe that's what it is. More shitty lyrics. The BFFs eternally. He says, "I want to fight with you," but the way he enunciates, it sounds like "I want to fuck with you."
That's the alternative lyric. It's like "Fuck You" by CeeLo Green turning into
Exactly.
"Forget You."
Yeah, this is the radio version.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't care for the vocals at all on this track. Instrumentally, it almost sounds kind of city pop-esque.
I literally wrote that in my notes.
Yeah.
Like, what would you even fucking call this vibe? Like, it's weird. It kind of sounds like their songs now,
Okay.
but with a lot more energy, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes it better or worse. Kind of makes
Much better.
Yeah, there we go, actually, yeah. It seems like they're just trying to be like, yeah, fighting and making up will make the relationship better if we do it so much. Like, I want to fight with you.
Yeah.
I think the horn section ornamenting the guitar solo is like a okay choice.
Yeah.
But it definitely like left me really tonally confused. Because why are the Jonas Brothers doing city pop?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it kind of leans more into the funk influence on this album because city pop is derived from funk, which probably was not their inspiration, but I'm just grasping at straws right now.
They probably thought that they like created it.
Do that again.
We're like doing pop, but it's in the city.
Wait, do that again. Nick, you gotta stop talking like that.
Nick, get out of the studio, man.
It's all this asbestos in the booth.
Oh man, that fucking killed me. Holy shit.
Oh, it's so funny.
Oh man.
My favorite thing about our fucking impersonations of people, we just like caricature them so fucking much.
But the thing is, we caricature them, but this shit also writes itself,
Yeah,
I feel.
it's right there.
Like, a lot of the time, they just have these weird vocal stylings, and it's like,
It's hard not to like just get it involved and try it yourself.
to just hyperfixate on like the weird parts about their voice. Nick's speaking voice is a lot different than his singing voice.
I would imagine. I would hope he doesn't just like growl whenever he talks.
If he talked like that, the way he sings, he's not going to have to worry about STDs.
That's
I
a
can
good
tell you
point.
that much.
Yeah.
He's not going to have to worry about poison ivy ever
The
again.
natural cure.
Oh, man. That Prince-esque high note toward the end, get the fuck out of here, man.
Yeah, not up in his wheelhouse. I think the sax solo is interesting. It's refreshing for the album.
Yeah.
But like you said, it is kind of jarring for a Jonas Brothers album.
I would say.
But in a vacuum, it's cool. I do not really care for the choruses at all. I like the backup vocals at least, leading up to the actual chorus lyrics. And I also dig the drums on this track. They're very simple, but they actually sound like really crisp. That a rare instance of good production.
You know, I was thinking it'd be so funny since it's like city pop influence.
Yeah.
What if like Macross did like a remix of this?
That'd be fucking awesome. Like, I sampled it.
Like a future funk version of this?
Slowed and reverbed.
Can I do commissions? Macross, I'm a fan of your work.
We know you're listening.
Do you do commissions? This would
Yeah.
be really funny.
Do the Jonas Brothers.
And then we can make it our intro.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
And then we get copyrighted by Disney.
Oh man.
Next up, we have Black Keys. I have like nothing to say about this song.
I think it's the best slow song.
I could see that.
It's the most sincere on the album. I think Nick really did his lyrical creative chops on this.
I think lyrically, this is one of the best moments on here. It's a very interesting concept with
Yes.
very apt metaphors.
Nick's voice is most tolerable on here.
Yeah.
Like
For
there's
real.
there's a little bit of vocal fry, but he actually seems like he's really, being sincere about it. I like the strings too and the bridge because it really
Yes.
drive the song forward.
Big crescendo. Very nice.
It genuinely feels like there is like a moving aspect to it. Yeah, no, it's too bad the rest of the album is on here because it really kind of bogs any chance of this feeling like a good
Yeah.
moment down.
Wanting to mature, this is the direction they should have went.
for a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because like I think they could have pulled off like the more artsy singer-songwriter
Yeah.
type if they just like
Reeled
it
it in.
a little
Yep.
bit. No, exactly. But honestly, other than that, there's really not much to say about it though.
Yeah, it's fine for what it is.
I wrote in my notes, I'm tired.
Yeah. Like you said, it's not a very long album. It's 47 minutes. It feels fucking long.
The pacing is like real bad, both
Yeah.
content-wise, song bloat-wise.
Flow-wise.
Yeah, no.
It's rough.
But thank God.
We have the best song on the album.
So, if you were wondering, where's the rap feature on the Jonas Brothers album?
We know it's been on the top of your mind.
Guys, look no further than Don't Charge Me for the Crime, number 10, featuring Kamen, which is so wild that he was
know.
on this.
Yeah.
He had to have been paid like so much money for this.
Yeah, or they were like friends, or he owed them a favor.
Probably.
I have no idea.
Why the hell is this following Black Keys?
Yes, and why does it have a better seamless transition than Paranoid and To Fly With Me?
Literally, yeah, I remember that. Oh my gosh.
That shit was crazy. It had me geeking.
Listen, man, AJ, get in the car. It's time to rock.
That classic criminal slang we all know and love. It's time to rock.
Oh man, that's crazy that they thought like they had to be in their 20s when they like did this.
I know.
It's crazy to me. They're like, it's time to rock.
Like, this sounds like it was written by like 13-year-olds, which is crazy.
It sounds like if the Jonas Brothers tried to write a promo song for GTA 5,
Yeah.
which
And they never played it.
no, thank God they never played it. Imagine like switching on the fake radio like in
Yeah.
the car, and then just like,
Next up, we have the Jonas Brothers. Don't charge me for the crime.
Don't charge me for the crime. That's so funny.
The way they say charge annoys me. It's there's like a Y in there. Charge.
Don't charge me for the crime.
Wrong place, wrong time. That's crazy.
Oh my God. I hope Kamen was paid enough money to do this.
He doesn't need to be here. It sounds like he's just given up on this track.
I would.
Yeah.
Why the fuck wouldn't you give up on this
Super
track?
basic, just like the bare bones rap flow you could ask for.
I wrote that he was the MC on the song, but I feel like that's not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's
no.
a backup vocalist.
He's a backup vocalist. I don't know, maybe just a feature. I don't know if MC is a good term.
He's just phoning it in, like super basic rhymes and extremely sluggish flow style. Also, lyric I gotta shout out. I scream just like the females in the crowd. What the fuck?
Hey, the ladies used to go fucking ape shit when they would be at their concerts back in the day.
That's just a weird way to phrase that.
That is, yes, granted. Without a doubt.
Just a very odd like comparison to.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, that's oof. If I had to guess as to like what the inspiration behind the song would be, besides like potentially getting like, I don't know, trying to like pull a fast one on your partner, which seems to be like the ulterior undercurrent theme. I would guess that this song is about them trying to keep up their public image with.
I see.
Like,
okay.
Considering they were using Disney for all their like promotional push out.
Yeah.
So I would guess that's probably why. Like, if I'm just trying to rock, don't charge me for the crime. Oh, God. Did you know Joe Jonas has his own solo album?
Really?
Not the one that's coming out. He has one that he released.
It's Cake by the Ocean, that one?
No, that's DNCE.
Okay.
He had a failed solo album in 2015, and Lil Wayne is on it.
Oh, awesome.
It's pretty bad.
Nice. I'm glad that adding rappers to the Jonas Brothers.
Actually, I want to say it's really bad. It's painfully average.
I see. Well, this song is really bad.
Yes, it's terrible.
Yes.
Way too much reverb.
Yeah.
all
Oh my
over the
God.
place.
The sound effects are so cheesy and obnoxious. The police sirens, the camera flashes. It's so on the nose.
Yeah, nah, it's a weird time.
Yeah. Followed up, this song is sandwiched so poorly.
This is like the end arc of the album. I feel like there's like a flow or maybe like a run.
Yeah.
Like a bad track run.
It's like, it's not even like a run. It's you're falling down the hill at this point.
Yeah, no, yeah, pretty much.
Why is this in between two ballads? Turn Right is such a weird vibe shift.
Yeah, Don't Charge Me for the Crime and then Turn Right.
Yeah.
Isn't the next one also another kind of sincere-esque song too?
After that, yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So much bloat, man.
I know.
This song is so largely forgettable to me.
It's boring.
It's so boring. Like I literally only wrote it's boring. That was the only thing I wrote about this song.
Yeah, like it's instead of piano on Black Keys, it's acoustic guitar, just acoustic guitar. It's nice in theory, like again hearing the Jonas is going for like a more vulnerable, softer sound, but that comes with some more caveats as they have very high pitched notes while they sing, and it's very piercing and distracting from the overall tone of the song, especially on the choruses. And they also use the racetrack metaphor for this song like way too much. Really want to phone that one in, hammer that home.
Only one artist can get away with doing like car metaphors, and that's Meatloaf. If life is just a highway, then the soul is just a car.
You can't beat that.
No, you can't. Objects in the rearview mirror.
For real.
One of two good songs off of Bad out of Hell 2. Oh man, it's
Anything else about Turn Right?
no.
Or shall we turn into the penultimate track, Don't Speak?
This one's weird because
It is weird.
Doesn't he mention like saying like I remember how you lied next to me in bed or something like that?
Yeah.
Like it's
Keeping
trying
up
to
that maturity. Gotta hammer that home.
it's trying to do like a play on words sort
Exactly.
of kind of. Ultimately though, I would say the song is also pretty forgettable.
It's very forgettable. It goes for like more of like an indie pop kind of sound with like synths and guitar. I really don't care for the vocal delivery on the chorus.
Yeah.
Like the way he just elongates the word speak, just it loses like the meaning. It just sounds weird.
Yeah.
I actually think the verses, like the more subtle, low-key vocal delivery is fine. Definitely one of the better ones on this whole album, but it's just ruined by the chorus.
I think also there's just so much on the album prior to this that it's, and I guess
Yes.
the one song after this where it just
gets
gets
lost in the shuffle.
completely lost.
Yeah.
So frankly, like this was never a song that I would ever want to go back to as a kid, if I'm being honest.
Valid.
Like, I think in terms of the songs as a kid on this album that I would listen to, it was
Poison Ivy.
no, it was never Poison Ivy. My sister liked Poison Ivy, but I
Gotcha.
did not. Hey Baby was one of them. Then Fly With Me, Paranoid here and there, and then World War III as a kid. I was like, this is so loud. I love it. Like, I sounded like Nick Jonas as a kid. I wanted to be like him so much.
love it.
I love it. He like flies with me. Oh my gosh.
Peter and Wendy, this turned out fine. I love it. I love it.
Oh my god.
I think honestly the strings are a highlight on this one. I think they're pretty good and they end the song pretty well. The string section overall is like a pretty nice inclusion. Maybe a little cliche, but it's better than whatever the fucking Jonas Brothers are singing.
Yeah, no, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I feel like it's also so funny how like all of the horn features are not desired at all on this album.
Like,
but the strings are.
Because like one of my big things, I fucking love a horn section in an album. They suck here.
They're
They're
really
so
bad.
bad. Yeah.
I feel like the only comparison I can make in terms of just how obnoxious like the production on the horns is like Pray for the Wicked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like they're just supposed to be loud, blaring in your face and just being like trying to make it seem like, oh, we're so big now. Like we're so like
What a full circle, man. The
Yeah.
first episode and the last episode of the season.
yeah, I know. It's how I write them, you know?
It's like poetry. It rhymes. And that was George Lucas, everybody. Give it up.
I just watched that video like yesterday.
See you, George.
That's so funny. I literally just watched that video yesterday. That's so funny.
Oh, man.
Oh man, oh gosh. I feel like I was suffering from allergies, audience, and I haven't had a coughing fit all day until AJ made me laugh this last hour or so. So yeah, but I won't speak for much longer.
Well, thanks for keeping it real, Matt, because we're on the last track of this album.
Keep it real. This song was very much utilized in the Jonas TV show.
Yeah, I would say it sounds very marketable. Sounds like it would be like credits song. I don't mind it.
I think in terms of the messages and like the overall vibes on this album, content-wise and like sonically,
Yeah.
it's probably, I'd say, the most inoffensive.
Yeah, for real. It's
But-
just about, not letting fame get to your head.
Yeah, which I would argue they failed.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest.
Did not practice what they preached.
No, not at all. It's kind of like a ska-ish almost vibe,
Yeah.
like pop rock, like ska. Which, and the horns here are actually not bad.
Agreed. Yes.
Like they actually kind of like complement the overall instrumental,
They're
I would
mixed
say.
decently too.
Plus, it's catchy.
It is very catchy, very good hook. I like the harmonized vocals on the choruses, as well as just like the kind of like subtle like bass strumming on the verses.
Yeah.
It adds to like the overall feel of the song pretty well.
Listen, if they want to do their own like more intellectual, if you could call it that, like more like thought-provoking like musical content, they could have tried to branch out a little bit in other areas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how tightly like the eyes of Disney were watching them at this time, but like they could have probably expanded to other areas or maybe secretly done like solo projects like under a different name or something. Like I feel like when they stick to like the upbeat, happy stuff, you know, pushing aside all the other shit, they do so much better.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's just a matter of like the marketability aspect. Like they didn't want to lose Disney's branding and Disney's like
The resources.
promotional push. And it's like at this point, and I don't mean to get this way, at this point, like, do you care about actually being an artist?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I get it. Fame, promotional stuff, and like outreach, that's huge as an artist. But it's like, if you're just so willing to compromise just all for money, like at that point, it's like, what's the fucking point, man?
You're not keeping it real.
No, you're not keeping it real. Oh, man. Because otherwise, as they're trying to like be serious, but also be on like kids shows and like keep the Disney values, it waters down the potential of like songs like, let's just say Poison Ivy, if we really wanted to go there.
Yeah.
Like it waters down
Or Black Keys.
Yeah, or Black Keys. It waters down like the threshold of intellectual depth that they could have probably struck when writing the songs.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my frustration with it is. It's like, if you're going to stay in your lane, like be content with that. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know, have some artistic integrity and realize what you really want and like live in the fast lane, maybe.
And stick to your lane and like know what that lane is.
Yeah.
Because they are swerving all over the highway on this album.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess at this point they're just kind of putting out feelers and stuff.
Yeah, see like what they would wanted to tackle after.
Yeah. I feel like if they left Disney just a little bit earlier, they may have had a potential of maybe like putting out some more meaningful stuff. But then again, they're still trying to market to kids here. So
That they are. Off nostalgia now.
yeah, and now that's their whole brand.
Yep. Anyway, that was Lines, Vines, and Trying Times.
I don't have any final thoughts written down.
Okay.
This song, I think I kind of said a lot of my gripes with most of the track by track things that we said so far. This album has a lot of nostalgia for me, and I was trying really, really hard to like look at it at like a positive light, because as a kid I was like, wow, they're living life in the fast lane and they're so complex.
They're starting a world war.
and they're paranoid. And like, you know,
Common.
I think like as a kid I thought this was like wow, this album is so different than like their other stuff.
Yeah.
And while I do appreciate them, I guess, trying to like veer into other genres and like genre bend a little bit, I feel like this album is a bit tonally confused, but at the same time really boring, really badly paced, and just not lyrically captivating, at least in an unironic way. Like there's a lot of choices on this album that are just really baffling.
Yeah.
Between lyrics, their vocals, and also just choices instrumentally. John Fields, I'd like to believe that maybe you did some pretty good work. He has a long list of albums that he was
a part of.
Yeah, no, because I looked it all up, and this album was not a fun, active listen, even with all the nostalgia there. I was telling my sister about like my experience with this, because you know now we're both like in our 20s, and we're just like, oh, Meg, remember this song, and she was like, wow, yeah, this is not good.
Wow. You know, it's bad.
Yeah, you know it's bad. Nostalgia. Well, my sister and I have had full-on discussions about how we don't like the Jonas Brothers at all anymore.
Cool.
Because with the exception of Kevin, presumably, they kind of suck as people.
Valid.
But we watched Jonas Con, and it was not. They looked like they just wanted to get the fuck out of there.
I see.
Which you're hosting it, so it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But in terms of the actual album, oh god, number rating. I can't give this higher than like a 3 out of 10. I'll be nice and I'll put it in like D tier, like probably like the lowest tier of D tier.
Like D minus?
Like D minus.
Nice.
I don't think I could put it in F tier because I don't think it's like the worst thing.
Definitely not.
We heard the worst thing of this season. The worst two, actually. But no, like I don't think in good conscience I could put it higher than a D or higher than a 3. I could see this going even lower, but it'll probably stay in D tier, I think, for me.
Definitely not F tier deserving.
I feel like the other albums, while they also might have the childish lyrics and stuff and vocal delivery, I could probably enjoy those because they're generally more positive, which I think was just the market they should have stayed in.
More up their alley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this D tier, 3 out of 10 for now.
Sounds honestly very valid. And I share similar sentiments. People say that Kid A is the greatest left turn in music history. I'm here to argue that Lines, Vines, and Trying Times takes that title.
Please go on.
I'm fucking with you, of course. This album is not anything special. There are some standout moments that are quite memorable, though for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
What the fuck were they thinking with Don't Charge Me for the Crime?
No,
dude?
really, that was insane.
That was just severe lapse of judgment. It's just pretty basic for the most part. Some very lackluster songwriting, serviceable at best instrumentals, and wildly varying vocals in terms of performance. The vocals and lyrics are tied for the weakest link on this album. Nick Jonas is not a good vocalist.
He sucks.
I don't like that his default style is just to yell and rasp. It just detracts. It just takes you out of whatever he's singing, and you just can't really empathize with because the delivery just is all wrong.
It really is.
This is a personal problem, but I can't tell any of them apart on this album, like whatsoever. Like their voices,
okay,
like Joe or Nick, they just kind of blend together.
It's subtle, but like, yeah, you can kind of. It takes a little bit of practice.
Yeah, a trained ear, which I don't have for the Jonas Brothers, unfortunately.
A trained ear for the Jonas Brothers.
Yes. There are moments where the vocals are fine, but they're just too inconsistent to like really appreciate the positives that they have to offer on this album. Lyrically and conceptually, this thing is a fucking mess. The wordplay is really basic and at times completely nonsensical, even uncomfortable at times, like on Poison Ivy. And these dudes should be the last people to be making a hard hip-hop influenced rock song about committing felonies.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about them getting Poison Ivy or going to jail.
Instrumentally, this album is fine. There are, of course, standout moments. Like I like the Rhodes keys a lot on Keep It Real, the organ on Hey Baby, and the strings on Don't Speak. But at the same time, this album tends to overindulge itself, making these additives unironically detract from the overall product, like the horns on World War III and sound effects on Don't Charge Me for the Crime. In terms of drums, guitar, bass, they're all solid. They don't really do anything offensive, but they don't do much to wow me either. They're just kind of doing their job when they're there, specifically for the bass. Overall, Lines, Vines, and Trying Times, not as bad as I expected, but there's nothing it offers that really warrants a revisit, aside from morbid curiosity that stems from some of these tracks. So I'd say overall, this gets a D+.
Yeah, no, I think that's very justified. This album was not a very fond revisit down memory lane.
I see. And I guess that adds on to the theme of bad albums in season 3.
Hopefully we can, actually, we won't be capping that off because of next week.
Yes, stay tuned for that, family heads.
Stay fucking tuned. I hope you enjoy it.
It's going to be great for you and not for us.
Oh, man.
Speaking of great, got one more album to talk about, Matt.
We have one of 2 final chances to talk about some great fucking albums this season before our final ranking. And that is for a rock opera that fucking blew my mind.
Hell yeah, man.
Oh my God.
The Wall by Pink Floyd.
I'm so happy that my precursor to The Wall, Nostalgia Critics foray into music did not ruin this experience upon the times I listened. Because I listened to this album quite a lot since then, mostly just in an effort to just drown out any memory I have of Doug Walker, just in general.
Valid.
He kind of looks like the headmaster. Like
in the art for The Wall.
Yeah, a little bit.
You can't have any pudding if you don't eat your meat. How can you have any meat if you don't eat your pudding?
Oh my gosh. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I mean, we're going to dive into it and I'm going to show all my appreciation. But like, I just want to say like, this album is crazy.
Yeah, it's a wild ride front to back.
It is.
Regarded as one of the best rock operas of all time, which I 100% agree with. I'd say it's probably my favorite.
I would say it's like, I
Yeah.
mean, of all the rock operas that I've listened to / watched, I'll stick to listen to because I have not watched this one yet, but I've listened to the whole
movie.
thing.
There's a movie attached to this.
I would say this is definitely in the top 10. I don't know where it would slot with like other ones like Lamb Lies Down or Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
Which Rocky Horror I don't think really works like just with the music alone.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
It is still considered a rock opera.
With this, however, the music alone, because the album came before the movie, right?
Before the movie, yeah.
It feels like you're watching something. That's the thing about it that's so crazy to me. I haven't seen the movie, yet I somehow did. Like, that's the thing about it that's so wild.
It's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
The story is so vivid and detailed. Like you can just see every moment that each song portrays. It's beautifully done.
It's incredible. But speaking of the story being detailed, give me some details about how, when, why this was made.
Well, that was an excellent segue, Matt.
Thank you.
So, The Wall by Pink Floyd was released November 30th, 1979 on Harvest/EMI and Columbia/CBS Records, and it is the 11th studio album released by legendary English progressive rock band Pink Floyd, also my favorite band of all time, as I mentioned in December. The Wall is a rock opera that tells the story of a jaded rock star named Pink Floyd, who decides to isolate himself from the world by building a metaphorical mental wall around himself as a response to all the trauma he has endured throughout his life. This album is also semi-autobiographical, as it adapts elements from Roger Waters' own life, such as the death of his father in World War II, his experiences of abuse as a student in post-World War II primary school, and his own failed marriage to his first wife. This album was also the breaking point for the band, and through a tumultuous recording process and an unchecked ego, things became very tense, resulting in Richard Wright quitting during the production process and eventually Waters' departure in 1984, after he released The Final Cut, his last album with the band.
Gotcha. I gotta say, like, out of all, I've listened to 3 Pink Floyd albums actively. Animals, Dark Side, and this.
Yeah.
This is my favorite.
I
out
can
of the
see
3.
why.
Like, this blew me away. Like, the other ones were great.
Yeah.
Like, without it, there's nothing wrong with the Animals or Dark Side. But, like, The Wall just offers this
Experience.
unmatched narrative
Yeah.
I think I've ever heard from, like, any album without, like, another kind of aid to the senses to accompany it.
Exactly.
So this was honestly such a treat to like listen to, especially my effort to drown out Doug
Yes.
Walker's memory from my brain.
I'm glad that didn't ruin your experience with this album.
It was a little hard in the beginning, but like
Yeah.
I feel like this is now
Separate.
the separate definitive version in my brain.
That's good.
As long as I never watch that video ever again.
And I don't think you would want to anyway.
At least not unironically.
Yeah.
I'd have to be inebriated too, I think, the next time. Genuinely.
This is a double album, so we have a lot of tracks to cover, so shall we just hop right in?
Absolutely.
All right, this album starts out with In the Flesh with a question mark. I think it's a very nice opener and prologue to the story of this album. It starts you in media res, which is very cool, and it also loops perfectly from where the album ends to where it begins, which I love when Pink Floyd does that.
That was so fucking wild when it did that. I was like, holy shit.
Excellent choice. When the fucking drums come in on this track, it's just, you just lock in.
The fucking drums and that organ, it sounds so big, and it's a jump scare, but like, holy shit.
It's warranted. This song does such a great job of building up tension, especially during those build-ups into the choruses. Dun, da, bum, bum. It's such a great moment. I love the soaring guitar riff. It sounds like almost like a ceremony opener.
Yeah.
With just letting David Gilmour just like pop the fuck off. And it's very fitting for what at this point in the story, as where we start in media res, when Pink is like farthest gone he is on the album, imagining himself as a fascist dictator, and he's basically setting the tone. I'm going to explain my life story and how we got here. And it's beautiful. Brilliant way to start.
That guitar riff is so iconic. I listened, like, me and my one coworker, we talk about this album because he's also been kind of telling me like the avenue of discography with Pink Floyd to go like album by album.
Hell yeah.
And I've been gushing about this album at work. Like we like to make this joke like, are we listening to In the Flesh or In the Flesh?
Yeah.
Like every single time, just with a slight inflection, slight
in the
like
flesh or in the flesh.
Yeah, no, this guitar riff is just so good.
Beautiful.
This is a frequent, like, I play this song all of the time. It shows you, like, exactly what you're getting into, but also not at all at the same time.
It's like you want to know what's happening because like you're a little lost, but you get like the premise from the get-go.
It's so great having such a horrible usage of reverb on the last album to such a beautiful usage of reverb in this album. It's
beautiful studio imagery.
It makes the bass like pulsate in your ears. Also, like the imagery that this makes that you're watching a show.
Yes, you're at a rally.
Oh my god, it adds to this whole fucking experience. Like you're at some kind of presentation.
Yeah.
It's the whole fucking lights, camera, action. It feels very Rocky Horror.
Where are all my sound effects?
It is a killer intro.
Yeah.
And oh my god, like this is, if this isn't my favorite track, it's in tie with other ones that are my favorite tracks. I think this is like one of like 6 that I can't decide.
There's a lot to choose from, man.
There really is.
Great fucking album. I love how this track ends specifically, just devolving into chaos that transitions perfectly into the next track. You have like the planes crashing, the crash cymbals just going at it to just really like get this like war scene in your head because it's such a present theme throughout the album.
Yeah.
It's an excellent way to close out, excellent way to start this entire experience, and I love it.
Gosh, I feel I just got chills speaking all my notes.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, we have more to cover.
I know,
this
man.
is crazy.
Got 25 more tracks.
Oh, man. Well, I guess let's not skate around on thin ice any longer.
Oh, man.
And let's go to track number 2, The Thin Ice.
I'm loving the transition game this episode, dude.
God, speaking of transitions, the transitions from song to song are fucking incredible.
Brilliant. Seamless.
Oh,
Love
my
it.
God.
And The Thin Ice is a perfect example of that, cutting from the chaos of like a war-torn battlefield to a baby crying.
Yeah.
This is where we get like the beginning of Pink Floyd, the character, not the band.
Pink Floyd.
Yes, Pink
in the story,
Floyd.
Pink Floyd is his first and last name.
Yes. I really love just the harsh juxtaposition from like the bombastic, triumphant, like ceremonial intro to this very low-key, like intimate sounding explanation of just like a family without their father figure.
Yeah.
And then comparing that to just like how you're skating on thin ice, with just like living without just like such an important figure, and like how taking the wrong steps will cause it to eventually crash. And eventually the song personifies that when the song explodes with that super dope fucking guitar riff, the 6/8 swing beat.
Yeah.
Like it's just so much depth. I love like the drums. They just carry so much weight on this track, which is like one of my biggest praises for Nick Mason as a drummer. All of his drums, they carry so much weight, like every hit. And even though it's simple, it's effective.
Yes.
Which is like the takeaway from his style.
That's what I love too, because my one other coworker doesn't like Pink Floyd notoriously.
I see.
And will argue against the drum patterns all the time. But said coworker that I mentioned in the beginning, before the second coworker,
Yes.
Says they get the job done.
Yes.
And you see that across their discography, I would say.
100%,
Even
yeah.
if it's just like a...
Yeah, even though it's like the 7/4 beat on Money, like it's easy,
Perfect.
but it works. That's all you need.
What more do you need?
Yeah.
Not every instrument needs to be grandiose to be
Yes,
effective.
we don't need Neil Peart on every track.
Oh, man. But,
I love how involved the keys are on this track, too.
oh, my gosh. The piano.
It's beautiful.
Having the synths phasing with the organs is just crazy. It feels like you can't even like fathom it, which adds to like the whole like being 5 clicks away from just utter madness.
Yes.
As you get to like the end of the album. It's like gentle and ethereal, and like it almost feels like there's this weird like almost cosmic level of forces that are like trying to push its way through the
Exactly.
hypothetical wall. Like it's crazy. You're holding back forces beyond your control. That is what I wrote in my notes.
I mean, it's valid, and eventually they break through,
They do.
which is really fucking cool. Both in this track and the next track as the wall starts to form. Let's start building this wall for real with another brick in the wall, part 1. Once
AJ,
again,
they said our name.
they did.
The family album.
They did.
That's us.
That's actually what we named the podcast after.
God,
This
that's-
one lyric.
That'd be so funny. You know what? That'd be justified.
Honestly, and it's believable.
It is
for
yeah.
me.
That's true. That's true. For you, who's been a Pink Floyd fan, and for me, who's like really starting to see it as it all
Yeah.
comes to fruition on this album. Oh my god, dude, the rhythm guitar.
Oh, it's so
like as
good.
it starts off this track. It's so good. I love the delay effect and the echo that it has too.
and how it plays with the channels on that as well.
And then once the bass starts filling in like more of the rhythmic phrase.
Doo-doo,
Oh
doo-doo.
my god.
It's great. It kind of foreshadows another brick in the wall part 2 as we get kind of like a bit of the groove, but it also keeps it's a lot more dark
Yeah.
which I love a lot. Like where we really get to see Pink's like life without his dad and how that affects him as a child and how that sets him up like later on in the album.
I have another thing about another one of my coworkers. He actually also really likes Pink Floyd.
Yeah.
And I was telling him how much I enjoyed The Wall. And he said that it's interesting track list wise because the happiest days of our lives are sandwiched in between part 1 and part 2, which I'm not sure if it was intentional. Seems like it could have been. But like, yeah, I just, before we get to the happiest day of our lives, I'll continue with this, but like, just interesting. There's intentionality all over this album.
It makes sense.
Which was a very nice
change from Lines and Vines.
Without a doubt. I love the echoes of like the people living in the background.
Yeah.
Really just adding to this ominous factor that people kind of get to live out their life a lot more peacefully than the main character.
Yeah.
So
just that feeling of isolation, you feel it because like you're hearing his internal monologue while everyone else is just living their best lives around him. It's brilliant.
And sort of like this envious lens.
Yeah. Like the daddy, what you leave behind for me.
Exactly.
It's such a powerful moment.
No, for real. Like I love the pitch bend that they utilize on the synths. Like as they're like climbing to the next chords. It's so cool. Like you don't get a lot of great pitch bend.
No.
In music.
But Pink Floyd's here for you, Matt.
They are here for me.
And they'll never leave.
They'll be a brick. They're one of my bricks.
Exactly. That and the Jonas Brothers side by side.
Yeah, no, the Jonas Brothers are going to be one of the caricatures. They're going to be the plane that holds me in place and I can't move. God.
Go on, Joe. Shit on him.
Babe. We'll get there soon.
Also World War metaphors.
That's true.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's our actual theme.
World War
metaphors.
Comparisons.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Lines, Vines, and Trying Times is a sequel album.
Yes, truly it's the wall of the Jonas Brothers discography.
That's so absurd. I love it. Oh man.
Shall I move on?
Yeah, I think so.
Next up, we have a fucking banger. We have Happiest Days of Our Lives. Such an awesome transition with the fucking like helicopter blades starting out.
Yeah.
And then you hear the schoolmaster for the first time, just this like super imposing like dickhead, but he has so much authority and you can't like win against him because you're just a kid. It embodies that perfectly.
It's such a like an awful voice to listen to
Yes.
too. Like he makes him like so like blaring and like it's like a very, I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's like a very like brackish voice, very like high pitched, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Laddie? And like this really Irish accent, and it's very funny, but also kind of fucked up. Not gonna lie, because they kind of start saying how like the teachers are like beating the kids practically,
abusing their children, because that's what happens to them,
and that's what happened in like fucking
in the 50s.
In the 50s in Britain, in like these like good schools that are shaping the minds of the youth.
Exactly. Like fascism didn't disappear after World War II. It was subtly like inducted into society in different ways.
Indoctrinated,
yes.
I love the tom heavy rhythm too on the drums. Like holy shit.
I also love like the lead up to that, the 16th note.
Yeah. It's cool.
This song is such like a great like tension starter. The bass line is fucking wicked on this song. I love it so much, especially during the descending lick that leads into the verses. It's great. I love just how rhythm focused the song is too. It just really makes a groove, which foreshadows the music stylings of the next track as well. And the build up at the very end with the harmonized vocals and Nick Mason just going crazy on the tom fills before we get the scream into Another Brick Part 2 is so great.
Shall we move into Another Brick Part 2?
Got nothing else.
Which is easily one of my favorite songs on here.
Yeah.
Just, oh my God, the droning feeling of dread you feel immediately as it turns into this sort of like cavalcade of marching children.
Yes.
Over top these like
disco beats,
funky guitars and drums. Like, holy shit. It's like so eerie. And again, I've never seen the movie, but I could picture it.
Oh yeah, dude.
That's the thing about it that's crazy. Oh man, it's so good. I love the guitar solo too. Like,
it's incredible.
I've never had like an instrumental that's so like at its base eerie and just this droning like dreadful feeling, but a guitar solo that's like almost playful over top of it.
Soars above it. It's great.
It's wild.
It also, but like at the same time, kind of also like leans into the sorrowful side of like the education system. Like there's almost like a melancholy in it, but it still is like upbeat enough to kind of like distract you from it in a way. Like it's a nice reprieve from like the droning monotone vocal delivery bass line and kids choir that's on this song as well.
God, that bass line, this is another example of like the instrumentation being simple yet very effective.
Exactly.
Because the bass becomes a lot more simple to kind of give the other instruments room to breathe and really do their thing.
Like literally after each vocal stanza on the first verse, it's just one note and just lets it like ring out before it gets a little more technical as it goes on.
God, I'm getting like chills talking about it. Like genuinely, this track is so good.
I know, dude. The kids choir sells the concept of the song so well. It's creepy. It really like hammers home like the theme that like school tries to mold you into like their perfect version of society, with like this monotone vocal delivery that sounds like they're almost brainwashed.
Yeah.
It's perfect. Gilmore solo is fantastic. It's definitely the highlight of this track. I also love how Richard Wright's keys underscore the solo as well, and like it just makes that part soar so high. And Waters as the schoolmaster is my favorite character on this album.
Yeah, I would agree.
So much personality.
Waters, say what you will about him as an actual person, but like I feel like his vocals are so like like just not talked about enough.
Yeah.
I feel like he really just knows how to wail and scream all over whatever he's on.
That he does.
And I will give him credit for that, especially on like Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking too.
Yeah.
Like he just really knows how to deliver. It's crazy.
It's like, I wouldn't say like voice acting level, but there's qualities of voice acting in his music, which I really appreciate.
And the fact that like they're able to mold the movie's animation to fit his vocal stylings that were already there is pretty insane. It's like
dope as hell.
Yeah.
We definitely got to watch the movie.
I really want to. I cheated. I watched the trial scene because I had just finished listening to it actively, and I watched it and I was like, oh my God, this is where animation can just convey things that no other form of visual art can.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about it, because the animation portion, from what I've seen, is really good.
It's brilliant. I fucking love them. But that's a topic for another time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Maybe we should get Tom to watch.
I was going to say for family meeting, I was going to say Just Us if we want to throw Tom in the mix too.
We could.
That'd be interesting.
It would be really funny. Yeah, no. We will see. Season 4.
Season 4.
Holy shit, season 4.
I know we've been doing this for like 3 years almost.
3 years. Shout out Kid Nation.
Yeah.
Fuck that show.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. But anyway, track number 6, excuse me, is called Mother.
Yes. Emotional high point for this album. I love it.
It's gutting because you're kind of seeing the fact that like Pink gets no reprieve wherever he is.
No, his life is fucked.
It really is. Like,
yeah.
Holy shit.
When he's not getting abused by his teachers, his mom is coddling him to death, basically not letting him grow like emotionally. So he just doesn't know how to function in society because his mom is scared of losing him like she did his father. Like, it makes sense and it's sad, but it's also not what he needs.
It's so fucked because like he just like the child version of Pink wants approval and assurance that his life and his choices are worth it because he gets beaten down at school all the time.
Yes.
And his mom does it in a way that like just straight up hinders his development personally as an adult pretty much. And or just as a person that will grow into an adult, I should say. And it just, oh my God, like the fact that the lyrics convey so much over just this organ and guitar.
Yeah.
It helps like add this sort of tender yet like really sort of just saddening moment, I feel like.
And like the mother's lyrics are like so dark.
Yeah.
Like, she won't let you fly, she might let you sing. Mother will impart all her nightmares to you. It's like all the opposite things of what you want for your child, and just like how that's just what Pink got. That was the hand he was dealt. I also love the back and forth with Waters as the child and Gilmore as the mother. They're very distinct personalities, and their vocal performances are perfect for each character. I also love how the keys come in during the second verse and how they just build with this like beautiful, almost dreamlike etherealness. Really paints the picture of nighttime with Pink expressing his fears after having a nightmare, which is a scene from the movie. Also love like when it just breaks down at the very end when the drums come in as Gilmore just wails on his solo. It's great.
That is a great guitar solo. Holy shit. Dude, the last line of this song where he asks if the wall needs to be built so high.
Yeah.
Something about that is just emotional damage. Remember that meme?
I do.
That shit, like straight up, that is emotional damage.
It's crushing.
Manifest.
Yeah.
Like out of everything too, like you're already instilling all these really bad coping mechanisms in me. Does the wall have to be so fucking high?
There's so much that I have to deal with.
Oh my God.
Like Roger Waters, he's great at like stingers, man. Like I said on the Pros and Cons episode, like that last line of Pros and Cons always gets me. And like here's another great example of that. It's just like a very poignant point that just like makes you think and just like hits you in the gut.
Yeah. But it transitions this last track, by the way, Mother, I would argue it's probably one of my favorite tracks on here.
I can see why. It's fantastic.
I mean, I don't think, just for the sake of my emotional state, I would listen to it like too
Yeah.
much. But it's instrumentally and like just lyrically, it conveys such a like perfect facet in the story.
Yeah, it's another brick in the wall.
It is.
Yep.
It's the whole fucking wall, pretty much. It's the start of it, I guess. But it leads into a track that is also just so like
Beautiful.
beautifully done. Goodbye Blue Sky is the name of the track.
So long, Oscar Bates song, right? After hearing this, do you now see how fucking awful that argument is?
Yeah, that is. I wanted to mention the Nostalgia Critic. Well, in life, as little as possible,
Of course.
but also like in this episode, because as you guys know, I watched the Nostalgia Critic before. I listened to the Nostalgia Critic before I listened to the Wall OG version, only version, I should really say. And I remember I was watching with AJ and then AJ's partner Megan. We were all sitting in AJ's basement watching the Nostalgia Critic
Yeah.
Wall version. And she was saying, like, I'm getting so pissed off at the way he's just blatantly disregarding all the nuance here. And I was like, is it really like that much of like a
difference?
Even that, just like, is it that much of a disservice?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It really fucking is,
It
dude.
really fucking is.
Yeah.
Because
Bafflingly so.
like this track is so gutting because he can't even look to nature
Yes.
to alleviate his childhood trauma.
Because the world is fucked from World War II.
And he's looking like, oh, mother, look at the plane. Oh, dude, that
You're
that little
right.
voice clip, Jesus fucking
There's
Christ.
a plane up in the sky.
Holy shit.
And then like it starts off with this like really kind of peaceful acoustic guitar before the organs the synths come in, and it just switches to ominous immediately. This song is animated in the movie. It's one of the best moments in the entire film. It's beautifully done. I love the harmonized vocals on this track. It sounds almost like a dark version of Blackbird by the Beatles.
Yeah.
Gilmore's vocals and lyrics just really show the horrors of war, wrapped up in a seemingly innocent sounding song that it's like almost a Trojan horse in a way, but you still get the overall message. And I also love the Stinger with the layered harmonized vocals singing the titular lyrics. Like they're so haunting, but they sound so pleasant.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful mix of like melancholy and horror.
I love also in like the transition between this song and the last track, you get like just the contrast between like what you're hearing with just the really gentle like synths after, or like the guitar solo and the drums in that gentle like tender moment. But then it immediately just goes into like this rumbling of this synth and like the warplane sound effects underneath like a peaceful guitar.
Yeah, and like the bird chirping.
Oh man, it's so crazy.
Yeah.
God, yeah, so long, weird song, am I right? Like, shut the fuck
outta here.
up, Doug.
Yeah.
Jesus. Anyway, great track, another contender for being one of my favorites.
Yeah, I can see that.
I should honestly. By the end of this, I'll have like a list of my ranked favorites. I'll need to cook for a little bit.
Before we move on, I just want to say when I was in high school, my drum line, we adapted this song as like one of our movements to play.
Oh wow,
which is really fucking cool. I forget it was my freshman or sophomore year, but it was a really cool moment. It kind of like one of the sparks that that made me want to check out Pink Floyd.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
because like even story aside, like this is quite a song to listen to.
Yeah.
So I think it's serviceable in all areas.
Agreed. Next up, we have Empty Spaces. This is kind of Pink realizing he is building this wall, and he's kind of like convinced he's going to do it, and he's looking for more reasons to kind of build that up because, as stated, it's pretty high at this point. It's very ominous, like with this like super like dark synthy track, these wailing fucking guitars over the entire thing.
Yeah.
This track is also animated in the movie, and it's like a representation of sex, which is very interesting. This has like one of my favorite bass moments where it just like descends down the neck, the boom, 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 boom before the lyrics come in, just giving Roger another moment. Also love the backwards messages in the left channel. That's fucking cool.
Do you know what they say?
I don't, but I'll put that in the description.
I love how like airy and quiet the percussion sounds in the beginning of this, which very much adds to the ominous feeling. There's so much to unpack, I feel like, content wise. Like he's noticing that there are just these like fucking gaps in the wall, yet it's built so high. So it's like he's almost grappling with just the question of fuck, is this going to be able to even hold everything?
I'm this far gone. What else we got?
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He's just like looking for sex as a means to like fill in the cracks.
As we'll see in the next track.
The synth and the piano just like slams, give this so much like texture of like this looming force of insanity that's just on the horizon.
On the undercurrent. And like Waters' vocal performance is great here. You just hear like the desperation and just like sadness in his vocal. It just sounds like super strained, like he's almost about to cry.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh man. We get to a series of songs now that are straight up like,
oh yeah, dude. Young Lust goes so fucking hard. I love this song.
This track funks so fucking hard, and just these little tidbits. Like, oh my god, it's like this really like crunchy and raunchy like it's like overall sonic sound because like the themes of sex abuse in order to like cope.
Yeah.
And dude, when that guitar solo comes in, it just absolutely squeals.
It shreds. I love it so much. It's built up so well. It really just embodies like this feeling of like being out in the night and just like hooking up with anybody that just you come in contact with.
Yeah.
The bass line is so fucking catchy. Doom, doom, boom, boom. I also love the drum beat a lot. It's very simple, but it matches the bass line perfectly.
Yeah.
Gilmore's guitar riff is sexy as fuck. I love the choruses with the strained, ooh, I need a dirty woman, I need a dirty girl.
Yeah.
And I love how Gilmore takes the lead, showing his like more kind of like grizzled vocal delivery, kind of showing the person that Pink has become at this point. Just like this like super pessimistic, cynical, just jaded musician who's just out there, just like, oh, who wants to fuck me? Let's do it.
I feel like this song is what fucking Styx tried to do with Miss America.
Yeah.
Like low key, they're like, oh, wait, did this come first or did the other one come first?
I think the other one came first. Actually,
damn.
Let me check. When did the Grand Illusion come out?
God, like I feel like this is sort of like the vibe they're trying to go for. This came up before then?
The Wall came out after Grand Illusion.
Okay.
So I guess Young Lust is actually doing a young Miss America thing.
Listen, art is derivative, guys.
Exactly.
No, but like, oh my gosh. I feel like this is the vibe that they were trying to go for in that song. Like, oh, the dark side of what it means to be empty and filling it with meaningless sex. But it's just like straight up like... This is so much shorter and like so much more well executed.
Yes,
like, it's
and
so
it's a
funny.
good song on its own too.
It is. Oh my god,
great fucking song. Fantastic solo from Gilmore. I also love how Nick Mason switched to the ride cymbal to like let that breathe a little more too. And I also love how like Wright kind of noodles around on the keys to emphasize or accent what Gilmore is playing. And also, a little fact, did you know at the very end of the operator call, that was actually like an actual prank call they made to get the recording for it?
Was it actually?
Yeah, like the operator was like so confused at like what was going on. She was like, he keeps hanging up. Why does he keep hanging up?
That's so funny. Oh my god.
And that whole section's also really well done. I was going to say like a criticism I have is that you don't really get the sense that Pink's wife cheats on him, but you do get it in this song because the whole operator skit at the end is Pink calling the operator to call his wife, but the wife keeps hanging up because she's hooking up with someone else.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I was a little confused at that part. Just like a tad.
Yeah, it's a lot more subtle than like the other things that kind of like lead into the bricks of the wall, especially in comparison to like Another Brick Part 2 and Mother. But it's still there, and you get like more of that on like Don't Leave Me Now. But we'll get there when we get there.
We're gonna go to this next track, which holy shit. The sound design on One of My Turns is fucking mind-boggling.
It's so good, man. I love this track.
The way that like they evenly displace like the room echo as the girl in the story that he called up to his apartment is traveling through his apartment,
going through the channels of your headphones.
But it's crazy because the echo is like even, which I could see someone maybe trying to achieve that in Adobe Audition now, but like in fucking 79, like what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's so well done. Like, oh my gosh, this is the type of shit where you and Tim, and I'd say me too, are correct about like experiencing music in headphones is just like
a whole
such a must when it comes to certain albums.
Yeah.
Because echoes in like headphones and in compared to echoes in other things, it's just different.
You're going to miss out.
You're going to miss out.
Yeah.
Oh man, oh my god! Like the skit in the beginning, the usage of echo and reverb. I said all that already. It's insane. The fucking like, oh my god, the E-piano, how they experiment with like the subharmonics on here.
It's so eerie.
Oh my god.
It sets up so much tension for this track so well. And you hear like the kind of like build up to like before it explodes, where you hear the groupie kind of talking in the background, like the newscast also just like both simultaneously speaking of Pink, and it's just like a switch changes when it fucking explodes into the choruses. Such a great moment.
That fucking funky portion of this song this might be my favorite in terms of like the groovy sections. Even though it's a really like sickening like portion of the story, it is unfortunately like the grooviest part of the album.
It's excellent musically.
And the vocals here are insane.
Yeah, they're deranged. Like Pink is snapped at this point.
Yeah.
And he's just like, he's breaking everything in his hotel room. He's like intentionally or unintentionally trying to harm the groupie by just like breaking shit. There's like a studio imagery where he unzips his pants, says like, shall we try like a silent three-way? Like he just like is going the fuck off, and the music reflects that beautifully. As even though it is grooving, it's like such a difference from how it starts out. Like a subtle like boil before just exploding over the pot. It's fantastic.
And it's such like, because we're kind of nearing this little not run, but like maybe run kind of arc in this rock opera, because there's like, I think after this
3 tracks left before side 2,
because then it starts to get into like the next portion of the story and like of the music. And this is just such like another great way of illustrating like this boiling point before he
builds the wall completely.
Before we get to where they were showing us in that little taste of the beginning. So oh man, it's going to be, guys, listen to this album.
Yeah, the way it progresses is fucking brilliant. Before we move on, like musically, I just want to say I love Roger's vocal performance, both in the intro and the breakdown. He just sounds like so defeated and jaded in the verses before just absolutely like manic and crazy in the end portion. Like you said, the studio imagery and production is immaculate on the song. It's such like a good skit, and it just paints the picture so vividly. And there's also just like such a sense of horror in this track, which I dig all across this whole album, but on this track specifically, which I just love. And the solo is dope as hell. It just shreds along before it like really like slows down as Pink realizes what he's done as the groupie runs away. And then he leads him to spiral even more into the next track.
Great use of juxtaposition. The next track is Don't Leave Me Now. I think we had briefly kind of mentioned this title a few times so far in the episode. God, I think the thing that's so like, you really start to feel the weight of like the situation with the fucking like breathing in the right channel being so intense, and the trembling, whiny vocals that follow it. The
dissonant keys that just like warble in and out.
And then the fucking like his voice just begging for his relationship, like, and just what's happening now to not be over.
Yeah.
And just like, where are you going? After he just pushed her away and just acted the fool so bad.
It's like there's like a meeting where he's like, why did you run away to the groupie? And like, why did you leave me? Talking about his wife. And you also get a sense that Pink is a shitty person. Like it makes sense given his upbringing, but like his relationship is hypothetically like abusive.
Yeah.
So they're just not a good pairing, and he's like trying to hold on to that because like that's what you're supposed to do. That's what society expects of him, but he just can't do it. Also really love like how much 6/8 there is on this album. This is another great use of that during the breakdown. One of my favorite breakdowns on the album. I love it a lot. I love how dissonant like this track starts out. It just sounds like you're just crazed and isolated as you're just like reaching out for some kind of connection, but realizing you can't have it. Water's vocal performance is great, very desperate and manic. Just shows up how fucked up and hypocritical Pink is. This track, I'd say it does kind of meander a little bit. Like it's pretty long. It's like 5-6 minutes ish, but the breakdown makes it all worth it. I love like when the guitars come in, sprinkling in those like soaring keys at the very end too. It's definitely the highlight of the track for me, and it's such a rewarding moment on this album. I think it's a very cool track.
I love like production wise too, if we're talking about the reverb, how you mentioned like the whole isolating feeling. They execute it so well and paint the picture so well of like him being isolated but reaching out, because the reverb adds to this like almost like chamber-like level of loneliness. Like you're locked away, like you're isolating yourself and like reaching out, and it's just echoing, and nobody's like calling back or will be reaching back. Like it's, oh my gosh, the fact that like they can convey that so fucking well. And it was only from hearing it.
Yeah.
That's the part I can't get over about this album.
It's beautifully executed.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
But we're going to get to the next track,
That's right.
Another Brick in the Wall Part 3, which is
Yes.
also pretty well executed, I would argue.
That it is. It's the finale of the Brick in the Wall medley. It's probably the weakest of the three, but it's a pivotal part in the plot.
Yeah.
As is when Pink like fully commits to constructing the wall and isolating himself from the world. It really just kind of sounds like the revelations of a madman, just like with how much fervor like the music has, and like the keys like sound like there's almost like some kind of like bug in your brain with just like how like oscillating they are. It just sounds like maddening. And I love like the lyrics too. Like, I don't need no drugs to calm me. Like, I've seen the writing on the wall. Like, he's fully in this and there's nothing you can do to stop him. It's just a really cool track.
It's powerful. It is like a powerful, like, just dismissal of like needing to fucking be a part of this, of this
society.
life and of this society. Just trying to dismiss like any need to like
any possible solution
and push past the wall and knock it down, cracks and all. Like, I love the fact that like not only does the theme come back, but it just like comes back as like this ultimatum way of thinking like, well, I tried, you know, now I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah, I did all I could. I don't want to be a part of it anymore. It almost sounds like a closing to like Act 1 in a stage play.
Yeah.
Which is fitting, even though it's not the closer for side 1. It's like a nice kind of prelude into that. And if we got nothing else to say, shall we hop into that track?
Yeah.
Next up, we have Goodbye, Cruel World. I think it's a very solid closer to side 1, and it sets up the rest of the story as Pink secludes himself in his mind for real. Basically, just his like last almost suicide note.
Yeah.
Basically saying like, I'm done. I'm leaving this world, and I'm keeping to myself because I don't want to deal with it anymore. And I also really like how you can hear the key riff from part 3 like slowly fade out in the right channel.
Yeah. I noticed that.
It's so ominous. It's like as if it's like kind of egging him on to like build the wall. It's like this voice in the back of your head. It's such a cool production choice.
The analog synth is just like so awesome. I love the way that's utilized in the beginning of the song.
Mm-hmm.
That bass is like so thick and prominent in this track too.
Yeah.
It just really adds to like the ominous like psychological snap, or really just like last effort to avoid psychological snap that you're feeling.
Exactly.
And like there's still a lot of album to go, but it's crazy like I guess plot wise and like I guess momentum wise how far we've gotten so far and like how much we've been able to get on this one side. I feel like it's
so much story in 13 songs. And it only gets crazier from here.
Musically, I would say this is one of my favorites too.
Yeah. Next up, we have another one of the big ones. We have Hey You. This one is also fantastic. I really enjoy it. Single for a Reason really shows the desperation, isolation of Pink now that he's completely entombed himself in the wall, almost as if he regrets it, but no one can hear him at this point. So he's just kind of locked into his fate. I love the steady addition of instruments in the intro, how like things keep building up the longer the song progresses. And I also love how Gilmour takes the vocal reins on this one too, to kind of like peel back a little bit and give him more of like this gentle kind of like desperate cry for help. It really like shows the tragedy of the character very well. And then I also just love when the drums come in on this one, having Waters and Gilmour harmonize. Like that shit just hits so hard. It's so great. And then my favorite part is the Another Brick in the Wall motif.
I was just about to say, it comes back in like this little sort of callback to the riff.
Yeah, this little like during like one of Gilmour's solo, you hear like the melody of Another Brick in the Wall, which shows up more on this side of the album as like a constant motif, kind of circling back to like this is where it started and it's still here, which is like really, really cool.
The E-piano in the beginning is just like so. It's such a nice way to start the next side. I love like how it ornaments the guitar picking pattern too. I love the effect using the guitars on this track too, like, which it just I feel like it adds to this. Like you definitely get a sense of that there's just like a total vibe shift on side 2. I feel like just straight from the get go. I love how in the story he's like, you know, again like even fewer clicks away from like descending into madness, but like even though he's isolating himself, he still innately kind of wants to like reach out in a way.
Like he's having like second thoughts at this point, but he can't leave now.
Yeah, like he's completely fucking walled in, at least for now. Trying to create solidarity to withstand the upcoming storm, but like nobody pays attention. And oh my god, that guitar solo is unholy. Like holy shit.
It's so fucking good.
Crazy.
Gilmour is one of the best guitarists alive.
Yeah.
He's fucking incredible.
No, this is proof of that. I would say.
I really love the bridge of the song a lot. It really shows like the futility of his plight, where it's just like the instrumental kind of like slows down after the bridge. Like it was only fantasy. The wall was too high, as you can see, and then the worms ate into his brain. And then after that, you get like the studio imagery, like the saws in like in the both channels. It sounds like he's just letting it just like take him over now because he realizes it's futile to struggle. It's such a cool fucking moment.
Anything else to say about it, or shall we go to track 15?
Let's move on to track 15. Is there anybody out there?
Kind of an interlude song, a little bit, but still very much like, oh my gosh, substantive, very effective. The fact that they're able to achieve sounds like this with so many layers, like there's this bassiness in this vocal delivery as the main character's going like, is there anybody out there? Like, with so much fervor.
Like almost like fucking arcade like sound effects in the background, which is really cool.
Yeah.
It's very dissonant. I love like just how ambient this track is.
And I love like the sense of desperation that the vocals really convey. Because it's almost like guttural the way he's kind of saying it. Like
just this primal urge to leave. Just like asking for help, but no one answers his call.
And then like that violin at the end.
The full fucking orchestra with the horns.
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous. Just like conveys like sort of feeling of like agony and regret and desperation. Love the acoustic guitar solo. It's like classic prog rock. And the violins complementing it in the back just adds so much flavor to that. This is a really cool like interlude track.
It's so like interesting to see like I mentioned before with like the vibe shift, like you very much get like an otherworldly sort of aesthetic that's like present throughout the entirety of side 2.
Yeah.
Like his moments with real life are just fucking gone. He's now just grappling with whatever is left inside. Yeah. So Jesus Christ. Anything else to say, or shall we get to track 16?
Track 16 is like I think one of the most underrated tracks on this album. I really like it. Nobody Home a lot. I think this one is super interesting. I love how it starts where you basically kind of get the sense that Pink is just reflecting on his life now, where you hear like the TV in the beginning before Roger Waters says shut up. And then we get like the main vocal melody. Richard Wright just goes the fuck off on this track. The piano is simply gorgeous. I love it so much. And it just also feels like so personal and intimate with like Waters' more softer vocals. The ascending strings during the first chorus like always sends shivers on my spine, down my spine. I love the very subtle thumping heartbeat from the keys that pan from the left to the right as like a nice kind of percussive element. You could definitely kind of hear where Roger Waters would go with the final cut on this track, which I thought was actually really interesting on this re-listen, but I think this track is like what the album needed after everything we heard on side 1. I really like this one quite a lot.
No, definitely. I love the sort of there's like a weird undertone of like almost like glam rock David Bowie softness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or like I'm Going Home. I don't want to compare it too much to Rocky Horror, but it very much has like the same vibe, which arguably is one of my favorite scenes in that movie too. Yeah. So like, I guess kind of same like position the characters into in a way, a little different. In terms of the musicality, I love the fact that the bass like just creepily like thumps between the left and right channels. The piano and the strings are like uplifting and gorgeous. Yeah. Even just trying to justify like
I got a strong urge to fly but nowhere to fly to.
Literally. Like he did this to himself. Like just the wall is not defense, it's imprisonment.
Exactly.
And he was fucking in over his head, and you just feel that.
I love the double entendre of Nobody Home, where it's like, when he calls his wife, there will be nobody home because she's left him. But also when you look at Pink, there will be nobody home because he's shut off mentally. It's great. It's such a good like play on words. Shall we move on?
Yeah.
Next up, we have probably my least favorite track on this album, which is Vera.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. It kind of just shows like Pink's yearning for a simpler time by remembering like someone or something from his past like made him happy. The music is really well done with some very ethereal keys as well as a very beautiful orchestral arrangement that sounds very delicate and somber. But it's another transition song, which this side is filled with. It serves its purpose, but not added to any playlists.
It might be like the weakest track on here, potentially, both for the themes and like, I guess just the content itself.
Yeah.
It is shorter. I like the horns and the strings. They're very good. Feels really just orchestra-like. And yeah, just reflecting on simpler times. It's all he really has left
Exactly.
in this state of isolation.
There's no future in the wall.
Just another fixture and just him trying to grasp at any straws he can. So
Yep.
I can appreciate it for what it is, but I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, I listened to The Wall for Vera. You know what I mean? Like it's track 17 though.
Ugh.
God.
Everything else kind of meh, but Vera goes hard.
Yeah, no. If we have nothing else to say, I'd like to talk about this next one.
Yeah.
Because holy shit.
Bring the boys back home.
This is another moment where I could not help but just think of the Nostalgia
Nostalgia
Critics
Critic.
version and just how fucking stupidly he interpreted it.
Exactly. Bring the runtime down.
Like, what? It's so crazy. Like, I didn't watch the movie, yet I feel like I did, and I was so engaged with the album. Like, he had another aid to his senses for this story. How did he grasp it?
I know.
Or fail to grasp it,
I
mean.
have no fucking idea.
It's insane. It's almost like he built a wall around his perception of watching the movie.
He wanted to not like it, so he just found any excuse he could to talk shit about it.
God, but this is such another like interesting like
Yeah, it's
moment
like
in the
switch
story.
up. It's the most different sounding track on this entire album.
Like, okay, I just want to see if like I'm right. Is like thematically, is this him wishing that his dad would have come back home?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's basically kind of like another reflection of the past. This time to the war, where in the movie specifically, he's at a train station. He's kind of like imagining himself as a child again, and like there's all these like soldiers coming home from the war on a train, and like all their families are, like hugging them, and then like the crowd like starts turning towards him, and they start like singing at him and like playing like the marching snare beats walking in as he's just alone in this train station.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, it's fucking dark, man. It's basically just another like reaching out for like I wish my dad was here.
Yeah.
The shrill backup vocals just added this like this really uncomfortable sense to just like Pink being attacked by his memories, essentially.
Even though it sounds uplifting, there is just like this eerie like, oh man.
I love just the musical switch up, like this marching snare beat with like this almost like operatic choir.
Yeah.
It's so cool.
It's so grandiose, but like so fucked.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. And this is even the most fucked part. That's the thing that's so crazy about it. This is also like only 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's very short. And it bleeds into the next track so fucking nicely.
Now, I guess we're launching right into track 19.
I guess we can talk about the build-up, because to what leads into Comfortably Numb, which is one of the greatest songs of all time, one of Pink Floyd's most famous.
In rock history, one of the greatest songs of all time.
I love the studio imagery at the end of Bring the Boys Back Home, where Pink's kind of like journey to the past is just cut off back in reality. It's like they're knocking on the hotel room as they find like Pink in this drug-addled state, and then it leads perfectly into like, is there anybody out there? Right on the first hit of Comfortably Numb is such a great moment. I love it so much.
This, like, I had never listened to this album in full, but I had listened to this song before.
Yeah.
I mean, this is such a staple song in just like music history, where I feel like it's so hard to like not encounter it at some point, you know?
Like not on the radio. Yeah.
This track, I understand why it later became a single, because it's the concept by itself, even just lyrically, and the instrumental, just they're incredible.
Yeah.
Like the synthesizer and the real strings on top of one another.
Yes, with Gilmore's solo in the foreground.
I can only describe this as if you're looking up at the sky, watching the world turn around you. That is the pain that this instrumental makes me feel, and it is unmatched by anything else I've ever heard.
That's fucking beautiful, dude.
Like, actually. And that guitar solo is just,
iconic.
God, like,
Yeah, one of
holy
the greatest of all
shit.
time. So fucking good.
It's like over 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Earns every minute.
Exactly.
Every fucking minute is earned on this track.
Definitely one of the highlights of side 2. The highlight, I'd say, for side 3 in terms of like vinyl switch ups. This track is just a monster. It's so fucking good. The use of strings and horns on this track, they're so subtle, but they add so much atmosphere, and they really make this track soar. I love the juxtaposition between Waters and Gilmore's vocal performance as they play the Doctor and Pink respectively, as well as current Pink and young Pink. It's very, very cool. I love the studio imagery of like the needle with like the little like chime before you hear Roger Waters scream because he's getting pricked with a needle to wake him up from his drug-induced state. Mason's fills are so simple yet so effective. They fit the empty space so well and make every moment pop. The title drop lyric goes so fucking hard with the Comfortably Numb itself. I love Wright's keys. They get a moment to shine as he basically takes charge and leads the orchestra with his melody. It's such an excellent moment. Comfortably Numb is beautiful. The child has grown, the dream is gone is one of my favorite lyrics of all time. I think it sets Pink on this course to destruction pretty well, where it's like, any chance I had at being who I was is gone now. I am fully embracing who I am currently, and there's no going back.
I love like when the cymbal crashes like hit every beat and the guitar just kind of rips through it.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. Like this is a frequent re-listen. Like I would argue this is probably one of just like the best Pink Floyd songs of all time,
totally.
if not the best. Like I don't know. I have to listen to more of their discography to like listen, but I have a feeling compared to this song, it's gonna be hard to top. Pretty fucking tough competition. Not gonna lie.
I'm interested to hear your thoughts on Echoes. That's also regarded as one of their best ones. It's 23 minutes. And it earns every fucking minute.
I just listened to their Pompeii movie soundtrack at my work. So
nice.
Because they just released a...
Yeah, I actually had the pleasure of watching it with friends of the podcast, Ben and Evan. Went to see it in the theater, and my girlfriend Megan.
Awesome.
We went to go see it in theaters, and it was excellent. It was
I would
very,
imagine.
very cool.
I've heard a lot of really good things about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, shall we continue to the kind of the last phase of this album?
Yes. As this podcast must go on, the show must go on as well.
Indeed.
I think this is by far the most underrated track on this album. I love it so fucking much.
Of course, me being so stuck in my ways of listening to Queen for years and years and years, this track is as comparable as that one. I gotta be honest with you.
Gotcha.
I love the mellotron on this track a lot, and I think thematically, just the way that it's like placed in the album, of just like the main character trying to like, I don't know, just realizing he's entering like the deepest parts of his hell now, and just like, is there any way to make amends? Or I guess not. The show must go on.
Time to embrace it.
Time to embrace it.
Yeah.
And like, oh man, the backing vocals and the harmonies, oh my God, they almost remind me of like the Eagles and the way that they would sing with one another and harmonize just like so well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is the track where Bruce Johnston is on it.
Yep.
From the Beach Boys?
Doing backup vocals.
Yeah, no, I forget where I heard that. I think my coworker told me that recently.
Friend of the podcast, Evan, told me about that, which I just found out this year.
Which makes sense, because if you want uncanny harmonies, you go to the Beach any Boys. Member of the Beach Boys.
Except Mike Love.
Mike Love. I was about to say, with the exception of Mike Love.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is such a good like tonal shift.
It's a great transition song, my favorite by far on this entire album. I love the harmonized backup vocals. I love how the transition isn't smooth from Comfortably Numb because it's a switch in Pink's like mindset. It makes sense thematically. It's almost like a switch flipping in your brain. The track just sounds like really pretty, like you said with the mellotrons and like I hit the mic.
Oh man, the goblins! They're taking my water bottle.
They're back again. Fuck! We can play Melee later. Get out of here.
Get back!
It's okay, Matt. We'll get you a new one. The show must go on.
Damn, I like that one.
But yeah, this track just sounds like super pretty, and like Gilmore coming in and like asking questions out of desperation is like super cool. Basically just like seeing Pink again making like one last attempt before he's just like, all right, I guess this is it. And then it segues back into where we left off at the very beginning of this album.
In the flesh.
Statement version.
Not in the flesh? Oh man. Even as like the second, like I guess the reprise of the intro, God, so well placed, and I just love hearing the motif again.
It's great
because holy shit, like this track right here, just that guitar riff, like oh my God, like I think I had goosebumps when I was doing my active listening at this point. Which we need to also mention, there is no fatigue.
No,
if you're listening to this the right way, there is no fucking fatigue on this album at all.
It's perfectly paced. Every song earns its runtime. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic.
That it is.
I don't know what I was going to say there. I'm having a stroke. I'm so excited. No, this is the thing about it that's so crazy because it frames it sort of in this back pocketed like concept part of the story of it being like a show. Yeah, and we're basically watching this man like flay the last like remnants of his sanity as he just descends into just like being a dictator pretty
Yeah,
much.
he goes full fascist at this point. Like at this point, he's kind of in like a drug-addled state from Comfortably Numb.
Yeah.
And he imagines his performance at the show as like a political rally where he's the dictator.
Yeah.
And it's a really cool kind of commentary on like parasocial relationships and how like the danger of celebrity influence can affect people. It's also a commentary on how Roger Waters kind of like felt towards his audience, as like he felt just such a separation as an artist versus a fan. And it got to the point where he viewed them as less than him, which because he was pushed to a point during a live performance where he spit on a fan at some point because he was just like very upset with their behavior.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just like him reflecting on that and like that mindset and like how it's not good as an artist or as just a person in general.
I think it's also just a really good commentary about how, like, you could say this about like the British societal system and like, I guess just societal norms or whatever you want to fill in the blanks with. I think it's a good message overall of like how society can mold people into like the worst thing you could ever imagine and like the most destructive force you could ever imagine. Because although this is a delusioned state, this could easily, with the right amount of pushing and the right amount of resources, could
be real.
Yeah, be real.
Yeah.
Like he had the drive somewhere in his psyche to think that this was the next step.
Yep.
So I think this is a good way of sort of like kind of illustrating, as a warning, I guess. Yeah, a good way to illustrate the warning and like the effects that this could have from all like that just inherent trauma and indoctrination.
Yes.
So that's, oh my gosh,
Brilliant.
amazing. This whole section of songs toward the end just feels like fucking like ego death.
Yeah.
Like Manifest.
For real.
And oh my God. I love the more like active vocal stylings on here. Like the one voice part doing like a doo-wop style like mimicry.
Yeah.
It's really, really cool.
Do.
Oh my gosh.
I love the angelic choir too, like backing him up. Like it makes it seem like this is like such a positive thing, but it's like the worst thing you'd ever experienced. I love how Roger Waters' performance as Pink is like more of like a script as opposed to a song.
Yeah.
Where he's like physically leading this rally, just saying some heinous fucking shit about gathering like minorities around and killing them.
Yeah.
And I also love like the little accented hits too, just like as if everyone's like in support of it, like the against the wall. It's such a horrifying moment of just like conformity. And I love how at the very end you hear the crowd chanting Pink Floyd, his name.
Yeah.
It's very neat.
Was that like done at like a concert?
I don't
Do
know.
you know?
Actually, I have no idea how that was done.
Because I was gonna say like that'd be really cool if they capitalize. I love when artists do shit like that, and like the fact that I don't know if any other artist has ever made it so that it weaves so perfectly into like a story and narrative that they're creating. So it's cool that like I don't know, maybe they just had some like leftover like audio,
from like a live show.
Yeah, because that would be kind of cool. Not gonna lie.
If I find anything, I'll put it in the description because that's a very interesting question.
My coworker is also a pretty decent Pink Floyd historian. I have a lot of Pink Floyd historians in my life, fortunately. So that's at least the good thing. So maybe I can ask him because he seems to know a lot about the production. He's told me a few different things, like the Bruce Johnston thing.
Yeah.
But this track leads into a track that is also just so like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It's track number 22, Run Like Hell. Oh my God. Just the imagery of this song of like this absolute fucking like
riot,
depraved man that was created, just chasing out all of the minorities and like
doing crime, like forcing himself on women, just like breaking shit, vandalism, and he's telling his fans to do this because that's what he wants done. It's fucking horrifying.
It's horrifying.
But the song grooves so fucking hard.
The instrumental is way too funky.
I know, like the fucking bongos all over the place. I love it. I love the guitar riff.
The guitars are so powerful.
They're so pleasant, but they underscore like some kind of like sense of danger with the lyrics. He just chugs along and really conveys this sense of running through the streets like your life depends on it. I love how deep the bass line is. It sounds so ominous, but also really funky at the same time. The harmonized, the run vocals, they also just add like the sense of dread as if like they're like gaining on you, which is so fucking cool. And then also Richard has a synth solo on here. Such nice that he gets like a moment to shine with that. It really adds to the sense of like disorder and like relentlessness that Pink has unleashed upon England. And we get one last Roger screech on this album, which is very nice.
Just for good measure.
Exactly.
You know? Anything else to say about it, or shall we get into track 23?
We can move on.
Track 23, Waiting for the Worms.
Yes.
I love right away the marching drums.
I love it. There's a reprise of like The Show Must Go On too. That's really fucking fun. And this like really shows where like Pink is at mentally. Like this one really grew on me. Like the more that I listen to it, it sounds like a death march.
Yeah.
It's fucking scary. Just basically Pink leading his new army into suburban London to do his bidding. I love the constant thumping downbeats that really makes it feel like there's a small army marching in on you.
It's ominous.
Yeah. The juxtaposition of this, like almost kind of soul style instrumental with like imagery of Pink being a fascist is super cool. You have like these harmonized backup vocals with like very like low key piano riffs, but like Pink is like actively spouting propaganda. And then we get the return of the fucking another brick in the wall motif at the very end.
And then like there's also more of like the chanting crowd too, right?
Yeah.
In this track.
I know in the movie they say hammer because that's what they replace it with. That's like the iconography of like Pink's fascist group.
Yeah.
I forget what they say here. If it's Pink Floyd again, I would imagine. I don't know.
Hey, remember in the Doug Walker version, it was cell phones.
Hashtag.
Evan's right. I am way too good at that impression. Oh man.
Take your Rob Walker on the road, dude. That's awesome.
Yeah, my niche audience that will love to hear the Rob Walker impression. Out of all the impressions that I think I could do, that is not the one that
I would sell myself.
God, resume builder. I could do Rob Walker. Who the fuck is that? Hashtag. Get the fuck out of here. Oh my god. Holy shit. I love one last thing that the guitar and the piano are like playing the same thing.
Yeah.
Over top the chanting crowd. It's oh my gosh. The rest of my notes was just the thing about the message of pushing someone so far to leading them to be a destructive force in real life. I said that too early, but
That's okay. It fits here too.
It fits here. Yeah. That was initially where I kind of
Had that
developed
realization.
that idea. Yeah.
It is horrifyingly realistic.
Because even though it is in a delirious like delusion state,
It's still
there's
a thought.
sense of realness to it. Because
Yeah.
why else are people doing shit like this
In the real world.
history?
Yeah.
So yeah.
The great commentary. Next up, we have Stop, the last interlude on this track. Short and sweet, does what it wants to. With Richard Wright and Roger Waters getting the time to shine as the piano like slowly gets like more distorted as it leads perfectly into the next track. Basically, this is when Pink kind of comes to from his drug-addled state, and he's like, "This is not the person I want to be. I need to put myself on trial for like letting myself get to this point." Even though it wasn't real, he sees the potential in himself and kind of needs to fix himself to like go back into society.
Just him saying like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
Let me rip off this uniform. Like, God, like, have I been guilty all this time? Oh man, like his last desperate efforts to just like
Tear it down.
But well, he's about to.
Dude, The Trial is my favorite track on this entire album.
I can understand why. This is definitely, I would say, again, not to compare between the two versions.
Yeah.
This is, I would say, like the biggest disservice that Doug Walker did to this album.
Oh, 100%.
Because everything about this song and just how it beautifully encapsulates just all
Everything.
of the key points that led him up to this moment. Like, it's crazy to me that he didn't see any of
I know.
that.
It's ridiculous.
Because even in audio, you get
get
a
it.
sense of what's happening.
Exactly.
This is how much like the message was clear. I usually have to look at lyrics.
Yeah.
I literally didn't.
Exactly.
For this one, for like most of the tracks.
It's right there. Everything you need to know. You have different voices that help guide you through who is speaking to Pink, which represents phases of his life. And the characters are not just there because they look cool. They serve a purpose.
The headmaster, like that voice from earlier, comes back.
Yeah, you have Pink's mother,
Pink's mother,
Pink's wife.
Yeah,
You have basically like a kind of commentary on like the English judicial system with the prosecutor and the judge, which the judge is aptly an ass face in the movie, which is very fun. But I adore this track. It's like the perfect climax of this entire album. I love the emphasis on orchestral elements specifically. It sounds almost like a stage play song. And also adds to the almost like performative nature of like the judicial system itself, kind of like mocking that. It feels like a musical number, which is very clever. I love all the characters and all the callbacks, like what we've been leading up to before. Roger like really makes it distinct so you know who is talking and like what is supposed to be being brought back up.
Yeah.
I love how he's just confronted by all these figures of his past. I also love the little marimba slide when the schoolmaster comes down representing like puppet strings. The cymbal slide on the wife's introduction because she's like in his mind like slick and slippery. I love the warplane of like his mother coming in to represent his dead dad in World War II. Like everything about the song is just so fucking good.
And like I think honestly at this point in the album, because most of it, like there are obviously such varied instrumental setups track by track, like based on what was needed to serve each track and like the concepts they're trying to convey. I think here it's so fascinating because they just dip into the orchestra like so hard. Like the orchestra was very much there in other tracks, but this one is primarily like
It's at the forefront.
like sort of like disturbing, like dun, dun, dun,
Dun. Like this unsettling like waltz a little bit.
oh man. And I said earlier, like in another episode, I forget when, waltz like meter is so good for like executing the idea of madness.
Yeah.
I feel like, and just oh my gosh, it's so wild.
It's brilliant.
I love like vocally everything that's happening. I love like especially the usage of like the woodwind strings on here. Like
the bassoons,
the
and
bassoon,
the clarinets,
and the oboe,
so fucking good.
because there are a lot of moments where they very much shine too, and there are also a lot of moments where like a lot of the transitions as they kind of waver between like key signatures, a lot of like these nice glissandos where it feels like you're changing scenes. It's really, really cool.
So well done.
Was there like a concertmaster or like a composer that's associated with this album, or did like Roger Waters and the gang, otherwise known as Pink Floyd, or did they all just kind of like in some way like compose this themselves?
I'm actually not sure. I would imagine Roger Waters did a lot of the heavy lifting in that point. I'd have to look it up, so that could be in the description. I wouldn't be surprised if not, but Roger was like very much at the forefront of the production of this. So honestly, Roger Waters and Friends is pretty apt.
I can kind of see, like, because I've seen artists when they have like orchestral ideas call on like maybe just somebody there to like help transcribe it for the orchestra to play. But it's very just fascinating because like obviously like musically it had to come from him somehow. So however way he was able to like translate that, like that's wow, it really paid off.
It did.
Because oh my gosh, like it almost feels like it should be part of like another show.
Exactly.
But it's like so cool to have it as like the dramatic conclusion.
The penultimate, the climax for this album. It's brilliant. I love how each character has their own like musical theme, especially the judge with the fucking breakdown at the end where you get like the electric instruments coming back in with the drums and the guitar. I love the vocal production on Waters' vocals where he just sounds like so distorted and like angry and scathing. Also love how the Another Brick in the Wall motif comes back at the very end to like really just bring this album full circle. Where it started, it ends where it starts. The tear down the wall is great as everyone like chants and Pink finally escapes his personal imprisonment. This song is so fucking good. Also, shout out to Richard Wright because he just goes the fuck off during the choruses with some very amazing like classical piano stylings. As Roger Waters just like begs, just questions like how he got to this point, as like all these bricks in the wall, like what they meant and like how he can escape. This track is just fantastic.
I think like above everything else, this is definitely the most well done track all across this album.
I would agree
because like there's just like every other track is fantastic. Yeah. Like you can't argue that, but there is just there's no indication that it would have ended like here.
Right? Yeah.
Ever. I mean, unfortunately, I knew it was going to end here because of the spoiler alerts with Doug Walker. But yeah, no, like, oh my gosh. You ever notice his name kind of sounds like Dog Walker?
Dog Walker?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A little bit.
I do see that.
Yeah.
And we're at the last track. Shall we just hop right into it?
Let's hop right in.
All right. Lastly, we have Outside the Wall. It's a very soft closer that loops back in on itself, as we mentioned in the beginning, as Pink removes himself from isolation, realizing that it's not the answer to fulfillment in his life. I love the little oboe that kind of like slowly gets joined with like accordion. It's a very different instrumental feeling with like this almost kind of like wailing like melody in the background. I think it's like some kind of like choir has the bassoon and the accordion play over that. It's basically just like we got to tear down the barriers and like stick together, even like when the going gets tough. It's like a nice kind of sentiment, but it also has a darker ending because the album loops in on itself as the cycle never really truly breaks.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's crazy. I like the way that like the children's choir is just kind of like more gracefully singing what the main character or what the main vocalist is singing. Like the contrast between like, again, the guttural kind of vocals and then just this like upright, like cheery, like it's wild, honestly. And it's so funny, like having all this like fucking strife that you feel throughout this album, and then just like this almost kumbaya style moment, like where you can almost see like just a completely different scene of like sunny, like grassy fields, like kumbaya.
But like it's a false sense of hope too.
Yeah, especially since it loops. That was crazy. Because I think the thing is about it that's so interesting is like after the wall is torn down, like it's so unclear where you would go.
Exactly.
Besides looping in again.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And what is the phrase that they say that leads into the beginning of this album again?
Isn't this where we came in?
Isn't this where we came in? Yeah. Oh man. Crazy.
But that'll bring us to the very end of The Wall by Pink Floyd. Matt, what did you think?
I didn't write down final thoughts. I have my ranking ready.
Yeah.
But oh man, what can I say that I haven't said already? This album, it's genuinely unlike anything I have ever heard in my active listening days. Just so much intentionality, track by track, some performances both instrumentally and vocally that absolutely deliver. Lyricism is pretty like involved in the story, but like there are moments where it can be more generalized as like actual like like
like
song listens.
Lyrics,
like if, for example, like Comfortably Numb,
Another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. I would say like even
Hey You,
like
all the singles.
I would honestly argue you could maybe like argue Goodbye Blue Sky, potentially.
Just a general anti-war sentiment.
I think there are like a couple moments on there that like definitely lend itself to just enjoying them as songs, even if you don't want to take the whole story. I love all the instrumentation on here. The piano and synth and organs are just fabulous. Like that was the one thing I love the way that like with every single song that it's mostly there. They're just like these sort of like elongated like note holding chords that like just really give you the sense of unease. The bass all across this album, the way that it complements the guitars is just so good. The drums, even though they're not like always doing like the fanciest stuff, the way that it helps like move each track forward, perfect. The guitars are one of like many things that I would say are like highs of this album. Like every guitar solo on here doesn't feel cheesy or like underdeveloped or unnecessary. Like they just know exactly, they give exactly what the doctor ordered. I feel like, oh man, in terms of vocals, like you had mentioned before, Roger Waters is on like almost a voice acting level of like
performance
and delivery, the way that he's able to like convey such like serious like concepts and performances, but then also have like these almost horrific caricatures of like these cartoony like people in
Pink's life.
And it's incredible. What else can I say? There's so much. There's just so fucking much. I could name like probably my 3 favorite tracks and then the other honorable mentions if I can. I have to say like In the Flesh, like question mark, might be like, it might be like, if not my favorite, one of my favorite intros of all time. But I think like that's just the song that I keep just returning to constantly from this album. If you're listing your favorite tracks, Comfortably Numb, it's definitely...
It's got to be on like the top 5 at least.
I would say that one might be like 3. And then number 2, it's between 2 of them. I would say probably Another Brick in the Wall Part 2.
Gotcha.
Potentially. And then honorable mentions in no particular order. Goodbye Blue Sky. Mother is sickening, but I love it. I gotta say, I love Bring the Boys Back Home.
Yeah.
That one is just like so like disheartening,
different.
so different, but it works so well. Goodbye Cruel World is also really, really good. Hey You is also really, really good. The way it starts, disc 2.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say Vera, but oh man, honestly, like even Run Like Hell, I would say, even though it's like so like
Disgusting.
a lot and disgusting.
Yeah.
The instrumental
It's
and the
so
vocal
good.
performance is so good.
Yeah.
Especially for what it's trying to like
Convey. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like tough because like the lyrics can maybe be seen as problematic. I could definitely see for like the certain verbiage.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's one of those things where I feel like the edginess and in an effort to convey the message is kind of what you really have to pay attention to here.
Yeah.
Even though I don't support like using slurs ever. I was gonna say
Yes.
very often, but ever. I don't really support it. But I think it's very purposeful in the way he does it. Like he's not just doing it like in an Axl Rose way where
Yeah.
he's just saying it.
For like shock value. Like,
Yeah.
there's a point here.
Or John Lennon, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where it's purposefully used. Gosh, if I'll stop gushing about it enough, I've definitely given this album all of my loving because holy shit, it's incredible. By the way, also The Trial is definitely up there somewhere. I could see that slipping into my top 3. The Trial is just undoubtedly like the most well done part of the album.
For real.
This is like an easy like A+ tier. I could see it possibly going to S
Hell
if I
yeah.
feel so inclined.
Nice.
But without a doubt, it's like an A+ tier and like a 9.9, if not 10. Like I
Nice,
just
dude.
holy shit. This was like the album for me where I was like, Pink Floyd. Like
Yep.
holy shit.
You get it.
Like I'm really starting to
Yeah.
appreciate this band's work, I feel like. Which almost makes me want to go back and like listen to other stuff and see if I can like
Find that same enjoyment.
yeah. Because I think Animals definitely has the potential to, because I loved a lot of the stuff they did on that. However, maybe it just might have been like the timing, because I think we recorded that at kind of an awkward time.
Yeah, that was like in December.
Yeah.
I think.
That was like in the midst of my job.
Yeah.
Which I was trying to figure out and navigate because I just started a new job like at the end of last year. So I think I definitely need to like look through Pink Floyd's discography, because like if they're making such purposeful stuff as this, even if it might not meet the height of this per se, I definitely want to see like where their minds were creatively in like their discography. So yeah, easily A+ tier and like nearly 10 out of 10, I would say.
Hell yeah, man.
It was a lovely experience. Well, not for Pink, but for me to listen to.
Exactly. As an observer.
As an observer.
Yes. Well, that makes me really happy, dude. I mean, I love sharing like my musical interests with people, and Pink Floyd is like very special to me. So having someone share that same reaction really means a lot. So I'm glad you enjoyed it so much.
Oh my God. Enjoyment is like an understatement.
Yeah.
This was amazing, honestly.
And I wish you luck on your Pink Floyd listening journey. It's a fun one to be sure. As for me, no surprises here. 10 out of 10 S tier. Fucking love this album. When I first saw the movie, blew my mind as a high schooler. Just like seeing such a horrifying, emotional dissection of like someone's psyche and like what they can become given the right circumstances, delivered in such like an emotionally expressive way through sound, I think is like such a feat of music and like artistry that like this album deserves all the praise that it gets. You pretty much said it all. Like musically, it's fantastic. All 4 members are firing on all cylinders. Even though it was a tumultuous production period, they all kind of locked in and were able to deliver one last phenomenal album before the band kind of like fell apart. And it's sad, but it's a hell of a send-off for their greatest era in the 70s. The story is, while not perfect, I enjoy it quite a bit. I love seeing the progression of Pink just be pushed further and further to build this wall and isolate himself, then come to the realization that that's not how life is meant to be. While you are correct, there are problematic elements like the fascist imagery. It is not dealt with the best, as there have been real world fascist organizations that have taken the hammer emblem and thought that they were unironically spewing Nazi propaganda when it was supposed to be a critique about that. But still, nonetheless, it makes sense for the story. And when looking at it with a closer inspection, you can see that is commentary and just that.
Yeah.
Nick Mason's drum work. Nick Mason is one of my favorite drummers, and you can't convince me otherwise. I love his style. All of his hits pack so much weight. His beats are perfect for what they need to be. I love his little accents on like the ride cymbal, on the trials, especially when he does that little like cymbal slide to like signify the wife's entrance. He's just a great drummer at what he does. Also, fun fact, Jeff Porcaro was on this album of Toto.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played the drums on Mother.
Damn, another concurrent theme of the family album.
Members of Toto.
That's crazy.
Richard Wright, unsung hero, Pink Floyd. I will always say that. His key work is phenomenal.
It's insane. Like, as a guy who thinks he can play keys, like, oh, Jesus Christ. Just so serviceable.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry.
No, all good. Very valid points. All of his like synth fonts like fit the themes perfectly of each track. His performance on the trial specifically just sounds almost like classical in nature with just like how hard he goes on the keys. Roger Waters as a vocalist is phenomenal in this entire album. He plays Pink as well as every other character that he voices so well. Like, it is truly a performance, not just singing, and each voice serves the album perfectly. David Gilmour, probably the MVP of this album. His guitar work is just unfucking matched.
It really is.
His guitar solos are so fucking good. Whenever he's given a vocal chance to shine, he always just fucking kills it. He does what he needs to. He just does what David Gilmour does and just picks up the slack. Production-wise, this album is fantastic. Like, just the way that they are able, like you said in one of my turns, to convey such a realistic sounding recording of a hotel room is mind-boggling. But other than that, like, the music itself just sounds so clean. They use the channels perfectly. Everything is purposeful, and you hear everything in such, like, a great volume. The orchestra, the strings, the horns, they are such nice elements that just bolster every single musical moment to like its fullest potential. My favorite tracks number one's The Trial by far. I've always loved that track. It's hard, man, because they're all so good, dude.
I had to omit The Trial because I would obviously say that is the best, like, and most well done track. But like, so I almost feel like I need to be in just like a league of its own. Mm-hmm. But like that, yeah, that's why I wasn't really in my top three.
That's valid.
Because it is really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's also catchy.
It is.
In a weird way.
Like, just like the way that like it vocally flows, it's very easy to like attach yourself to. But anyway, I mean, like the usual staples like Another Brick Part 2, Hey You, Comfortably Numb, of course, they're always up there. I'll say some underrated ones. I love The Show Must Go On. I think as a little interlude, it's the best one by far. Waiting for the Worms grew on me quite a lot. I really quite like it, especially with the reprise of Show Must Go On. Nobody Home, I'll always stand by that as like one of the most underrated Pink Floyd songs. I think it's perfect for where it is on the album and basically showing Pink kind of starting to retreat back into his mind at like things that used to make him happy. But every track on here is fucking fantastic. Vera is like the only one that I would say isn't, but even then it's still good and it serves its purpose. Mm-hmm. This album is just fantastic, and I think it easily earns a 10 out of 10 S tier.
I could definitely see that. I could see it like going to S tier at some point.
Yeah.
Potentially. I mean, we'll have to see as we inch closer and closer to our top or to our ranking of season 3. I was going to say our top 10 of season 3, which you will get technically,
yes. but as well as the other
ones that unfortunately are there.
Yes, the other 26 albums we reviewed.
Oh god, the first like 8 albums that I have are just like, oh man, I'm so not excited. Well, I mean, I am excited, but also just some of the stuff that we've had that I have to relive is a little scary.
Weird season,
but
a fun one.
We'll get more into our experiences this season probably at the end of this month.
This is our last episode, our last regular episode of the season.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah. I mean, I guess another theme of this episode is like the band's final works before they broke up. That's so funny.
There's so many concurrents, dude.
By 2 beloved bands? Question mark.
That both have similar themes discussed in their albums.
God, Roger Waters, don't charge me for the crime.
Wrong place, wrong time.
Oh God, Nick Jonas fucking singing.
Mother, should I build the wall?
Oh God, I would build a wall around my child if he sounded like that.
Exactly.
Not gonna lie. But all jokes aside, pretty fun episode.
Yeah.
We're excited to give you the last 3 that will be coming up soon.
Yeah, we got our another guest episode, our usual staple, last guest episode of the season. We bring back our originators of the podcast, friends of the podcast, Ben and Evan of Album Tonight.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I might end up having beef with Ben after their episode. Not gonna lie to you. I might be joining Tom's little
Anti-Ben Club.
Anti-Ben Club,
I
yeah.
see.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see when we get there. Tom Hates Albums got a special surprise for the finale of Season 3, and then we have our season retrospective and ranking. So stick around. We got some fun stuff planned. We hope you enjoyed this episode. And as always, I'm your host, AJ Tenari.
I'm Matt Glass.
Thank you for your constant love and support, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.